And we're live.
Oh, I almost stopped it.
Hi, this is David Snyder, the voice of Granny from Squidbillies, and I never listened to none taken. Jesus, look like I rolled out of a dump truck.
Doing it live.
Doing it live.
Yeah. Alan says it's going to look really good on YouTube when we do it like that.
It's going to look amazing.
It's going to look amazing. Well, if that means we have new listeners, I am really excited to ask you this question.
Oh.
So I get shower thoughts, and the problem with shower thoughts is you forget to write them down when you get out of the shower.
Yes.
And I don't, I think there's a lot of things that guys do in private that they don't admit or talk about,
Okay.
I'm gonna admit this is what I'm about to ask you is a little odd.
Okay.
But I'm a little odd, right? Like,
do tell.
People wouldn't tune in if it was just a couple of normal guys.
Right. My interest is piqued. Do tell.
Well, yeah, good. Glad to hear that. Peak rhymes with beak, so it kind of has something to do with this. So, so something I do in the shower, and I don't know if other people do this. I guess I'll just come out and ask you. I mean, you know what? I'll tell you what I call it, and you'll tell me if you know what I mean.
Okay. All right.
Do you ever do a little bird bath?
Bird bath.
Yeah. Do you ever make a little bird bath?
I'm not sure I know what you mean.
Do I have to describe it?
So are you like cupping your hands with water?
No, my hands. That's fucking, what the hell? No, anybody could do that.
Okay.
50% of the population can only do what I'm talking about.
Okay, what are we talking about?
So I think I'm finding out that I'm the only one that does this. Listeners, if you do the bird bath, let me know. What it is you take the skin on the scrotum, right?
Sure, yeah.
Sure, yeah. Mm-hmm. And you stretch it out, once it's, especially in a warm shower, you sort of like stretch it out and you make it so that it's in like a bowl shape, right? And then you catch the shower water in it, and then you take your little dickhead and you like dop it down in it like you're a little bird, like,
I don't know.
Shake it off and you just go.
I've
you don't
never
do that?
No.
I've never do that my whole life. Well,
did you get that idea from those repetitive machine things? That just
just seeing birds, and it's like, well, I don't know where I got it, but when I see birds do a little bird bath, I'm like, yeah,
all by yourself. Right. I've never heard of this phenomenon.
Well, I encourage you to try it out. It's very satisfying.
Perhaps I shall.
Yeah, nature's bird bath. Okay, well, listeners, if you bird bath, tell us.
Yeah, let us know.
Let's just start the damn show. What else are we gonna fucking talk about? The fact I got married? I guess we'll do that later.
My therapist keeps saying hurt people, and I wasn't really ready before, but I'm finally ready to take that advice.
Y'all let me in this damn house.
Should we hit record?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
All right, you ready?
I am ready. Are you recording?
Yes. All right. Well, you want to start a show?
Let's start a show.
That podcast is filling your head with garbage.
No offense taken there.
Well, it sounds like none taken.
Ask your mama, she'll say the same thing. I got all the ways, I just ain't got the means.
Boom. To, I think it's technically episode number 376 of None Taken, the internet's only debate and current events show with your hosts, Dustin and Alan, two political nomads from two different worlds. Shout out to Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band for their song Ways and Means for intro music. Thank you for joining us. The time of this recording, it's Tuesday, June 18th, 2024. It's a great day for America. We are two coastal elites coming to you from the shores of the mighty Cumberland and all the way to the Pacific waters of El Cerrito, California. Here to recap another week of 2 weeks or so of current events and our sometimes tragic, not so tragic personal lives. More on that in a minute. And taking a sledgehammer to the culture war echo chambers. Am I right, Alan?
Indeed.
Indeed. Indeed. I love when you say indeed. This week's episode is brought to you by Indeed. If you need hiring, you need that for free. Do you know anybody who's been like, yeah, I used Indeed and I got all the employees I ever wanted? Like,
No.
Yeah.
I tried to use it previously and it was terrible.
Yeah, you're like, well, at least I got that free trial from using password Rogan or whatever. Stop sharing this. Probably would have been cool to have our whole intro without this lady's face. This creepy Appalachian looking face there. Not that the Appalachian look is creepy. Thrash, we're good. I would never say it that way. Don't misread me. Alan, I think this is the point in the show where I recommend people to join the Patreon. If you'd like to join the Patreon, we got 3 price points to meet you at. You get the same thing on any of them. Whatever makes you happy, dude. If you want to join us at $3 a month, you're going to get access to all of our videos. You join us at $8 a month, all of our videos. You join at $18 a month, all of the videos. And with that, you also get early access to all our interviews. Tomorrow, we're going to be interviewing Sinotalk, Intel. We call him an Intel officer. He likes that. He doesn't. Yeah.
Intel guy.
Intel guy, right?
Specializing in
the
Asia.
officer thing came up. In fact, I said Intel officer when we had Julian on, and Cody's like, the way you say it technically means something different. I'm like, I don't fucking know, man.
Right.
My Stolen Valor Culture War T-shirt should tell you anything you know about what I know about that. But Intel guy, anything you want to know about China, if you're listening to this tomorrow, text me, DM me. We're putting together questions for that show. So far, we've got what about the Philippines and the flooding? What and with the flooding, and that's all I got. So I heard you got new pandas. We got new pandas coming to DC. That's what I know. Anyway, always going to be a good time with him. The conversation takes us to wherever, so I'm not too worried about not having questions at this point. But you get access to that immediately when you're in the Patreon. Chances are we'll release that a couple weeks, maybe a month from now, to the general public, or we'll hold on to it to the next time I go on a vacation and we can't do a show for a week, like we did last week, where you got 2 shows that you would not have gotten if you were not in the Patreon. That's the Patreon. Like I said, $3, $8, $18. Think those are the price points. Wish we had an option where you just pay whatever the fuck you feel like, but we put some numbers in there. But that's it. If you join the $18 one, we give you a Culture War Veterans t-shirt.
Correct. You also get access to our hidden track, which we do before every episode. We do a half hour or so
just
for you guys over there. Just
that
for
never
you.
goes anywhere other than for the Patreon.
That's only for the Patreons.
I talk bad about my friends where I know they won't listen because they don't pay to listen to us.
Indeed. Nuntakenpod.com. All of our stuff is there, including the link to the Patreon, as well as our merch store, where you can get some cool t-shirts, hoodies. You can get We Say Cunt in This House mug, all that cool stuff over there. So nuntakenpod.com has all the good stuff. Head over there and it'll take you wherever you want as far as
what's that website again, Alan?
Nuntakenpod.com.
See, they always say it 3 times on commercials, so I guess
they do. They do. It's a thing.
I hate it. I fucking hate it. Like, I'm trying to skip and you can just keep repeating. Anyway.
Hey, speaking of websites, don't forget to support the people that support us. SlicketsDigital.com for all your SEO and marketing needs. SlicketsDigital.com.
Nice guy, Slickets.
Absolutely. Great guy, Slickets.
Hey, what
is up, everybody? Welcome to the show. We missed you last week, you guys. We had some episodes for you, though. But yeah, it's been a little while. I was trying to think of personal life. I didn't do a whole lot this week. I did take in an NBA Finals game at Tim's place a couple weekends ago.
Is it over? I didn't see.
Yeah, it's over.
Mavs lost.
Celtics. It's 4-1. Yeah, I was surprised they didn't get swept rather. It was the Celtics were just dominating. So yeah, 4-1. It's over. That's about it. Our buddy Drew is coming up to see me. I think next week or maybe the week after.
Oh yeah.
Soon.
Well, look that'll be fun. Highlights of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm going to give you lots of space here because clearly
I was going to say I do have a little bit to talk.
You have a little bit to talk about from last week, so let's go.
Well, I think longtime listeners or very short term but not brand new listeners know that I fucking got married last week.
Hell yeah, brother!
At the ring.
Hell yeah, nice.
And the marriage license came in, so I can go down to the Social Security and change my fucking name.
Sweet.
Can't wait,
dude. Can you bring a recorder for that?
I need to. I'm really glad you said it. I would have forgot. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember when Sean Flannery was talking about it?
Yes.
Like, on paper. Listen to our episode with Sean Flannery, that interview. Okay. So where you want to start? I don't want to do like a whole thing because we got a show to do, but I think I can indulge myself when I get married. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Indulge away.
So we got married at a little chapel called the Rhinestone Chapel. We had 15 friends with us, and we had I felt like there was nobody there. It was really wonderful. So in my head, I'm like, and this happened, and this happened. And I'm trying not to give too much of a total play-by-play. Natasha kept telling me that her dress, she looked like a Greek goddess in. And then when I saw her, I was like, oh my God, like it was great.
Nice.
Both of us cried during the ceremony. Just
Aw.
like I couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
Somebody recorded it. It was like 7 minutes long. I didn't get a chance to watch. We didn't watch it until we got to our friend's house at the end of the trip in New York.
Mhm.
And it was started crying again watching that. But
Oh,
like,
wow.
I think that like, so like I've given like speeches before and stuff like that were very emotional to me that I was worried about, like after my grandma died in front of, you know,
Sure.
it was more than a small group of people. But anyway, I feel like when you get to like a certain volume of the audience, you sort of like disconnect somehow emotionally a little bit enough that like the waterworks don't necessarily start.
It loses the intimacy.
Yeah. And the fact that it was just 15 people there, it just felt like I was just talking to Natasha. And and when I went to say my vows, I also had not rehearsed my vows after I wrote them just so that they could be really emotionally fresh.
Mhm.
And I mean, I got the first sentence out and I was just like, I had to stop and like look up for a second. And it felt like it was like a minute, but yeah, it was really beautiful. Her vows turned out to be like slightly different than, but it was basically the same vows, so many of the same things.
Really?
Yeah, it was just I mean,
That's
we
really
always
cool.
you know, it's cliche to be like we finish each other's sentences, but
Mhm.
we are usually thinking the same thing at the same time. And it's
Yeah.
just, you know, whatever that is, our inputs take us to the same outputs. Or similar enough outputs, just makes us very compatible, I believe. And it just, I mean, evident in those vows was really, I thought that was really beautiful. So after that, we went to Chopper,
Mhm.
which is that tiki bar that we like to go to. And
Right.
Chopper, yeah, you went, right?
Yeah. I went.
Yeah. So Max, the bartender there, was so sweet. He was like, half of the bar is you. Like, you guys just have this whole side of the bar. And like that alone, they don't do reservations, let alone, you know,
Block off
parties.
party.
Yeah. And they were just so sweet. They didn't charge us for our drinks. Like I was like, oh, I don't think I started a tab. He's like, we'll be able to take care of it. Don't worry. Like, yeah. Anyways. And then when we went to leave, he gave us a gift bag with a bunch of Star Wars tiki mugs. In
Oh,
it.
hell yeah. I thought I saw some Star Wars stuff back there.
That one. Yeah. That we got a Yoda, a Princess Leia. And
That's
some
awesome.
of the baby Yoders. Yeah. And he gave us a hat and some pins. That was really, I was like, you didn't have to do this. Like, you didn't have to like let us be here. It was like a gift. Like that was
Right.
so
That's really cool.
shout out to Chopper. If you're in Nashville, always recommend going to Chopper. If you like
Yeah,
tiki
tiki bar
drinks or
experience.
good cocktails.
Yeah.
There's a couple of tiki options in Nashville. You can go to both, but if you only go to one, go to Chopper. Then we went to Sid's, which is like our piano bar karaoke. Natasha does burlesque there.
Cool.
And it was busier than we've ever seen it.
Mm.
And at one point I was like, well, I guess we've never been here on a Saturday. Maybe we should have known better. And they were like, no, this is insane. And then we realized it was the CMA Fest that last weekend or that week. So there was an additional 100,000 people in Nashville for CMA Fest. So
Every place was crowded.
No, that's just downtown, right? So
Okay.
all the bachelorettes got displaced, and literally,
Oh.
I was outside smoking, and a couple party buses showed up. I've never seen a party bus show up at Sid's. They were like, "Well, we can't go into downtown. We're going to ruin your fucking wedding," and they fucking did. I mean, they didn't ruin it. Don't
Right. I get it. Yeah.
But like, they made it not
Because
as
Sid's is like not on Broadway or whatever, right?
right. No, it's in the Middle East, Nashville. Like,
Right.
yeah, it's very far from there. Yeah, but it's a great location. I mean, if I were
Yeah.
them, I would have chose to go there too. And it was just kind of like I got to the point where we kind of felt bad for our guests. They were there for that. It was getting loud. I mean, everybody's having a good time, but once people were like, "Hey, we're gonna get going," we're like, "Thank you for being out with us." We eloped. Like, so much fun that you joined us. But shout out to anybody. I don't know if any of my friends listen, but like especially Brian. I know Brian and Rachel do. Brian and Rachel were like the de facto best man and maid of honor. They drove us around that day. They took us home. But he had to get up early to go fishing the next day. I'm like, dude, just drop us off at D's on the way home. Cause how like to get to our place, D's is before you turn right down Neely's Bend and go another 10 minutes to us. We're like, just drop us off at D's. That'll save you 20 minutes round trip going to the rest of the length of our house. So we go to D's and we got to walk into D's just getting married, like
Nice.
people would not believe that we were married. This guy walked up to me. He's like, man, I just got here from Miami and I thought that everybody I saw in Nashville was going to be dressed like you. You're the first person I've seen dressed like that. I'm like, well, I got married. Like, this is not,
this is not my normal attire.
I had like a cowboy shirt,
Right.
I had boots on.
Yeah.
By the way, right before the ceremony, Natasha's like, you know what? You can wear your hat for the ceremony. That pictures look pretty cool with the hat.
Nice.
Friend Steve had their car. Steve and Marzi they make hot rods and they had their cool little hot rod there. We got to take pictures in front of. Anyway, D's was great. It was great to be there for the wedding. It was a nice little way to finish off the night. That's it. That's it for that. And then we went to New York, not for a honeymoon, to do work for her mother. And I just need to keep saying that on paper that I am a fine Southerner and I did not go to New York City for my New York City for my honeymoon. Yeah, get it. Nope.
Goddamn Yanks.
Yeah, exactly. I asked the pilot when we were getting on so I looked up which runway potentially you could be landing on, and I knew which side of the plane I wanted to sit on. So I asked the pilot which runway. He's like, I don't know. I think the right, which surprised me because there's 3 runways and 2 of them you want to be on the left in order to see the skyline as you approach.
Got it.
And so I got on the right, and then as they're landing, they're like, "You guys want to look out your left window? You can see the skyline." I'm like, "Oh,
God damn it!"
It was fine. It was fine. Saw the skyline plenty while I was in New York.
Sure.
I was sitting next to this Romanian woman who was 93 years old. She got on the plane and she brought cupcakes for the flight attendants for her birthday. Isn't that sweet?
Aw, that's super sweet.
We didn't talk a lot.
How was her English?
It was very good, but she had an accent. I asked her when she moved. So like I didn't want to like overload her. I was like, tons of questions. She said she moved to New York when in 1950. She moved from Romania in 1950. What a time, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to process what was happening, and that's a lot. Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, she was, and unprompted, she said, I was escaping fascism, and here I am. I didn't think I'd be worried about it rising again in my lifetime. It was like, it's like
74 years later. Jesus.
Yeah. The math checks out. Good job, Alan. Yeah. Let's see. In New York, I had a Yemeni cab driver.
Fun.
And he had a little Yemen flag, and I was like, hey, we were already talking. I was like, I'll ask you because like I like to be able to talk about anything. He sort of was. It was a great conversation. Like, nice. And I ended up being. It was the type of conversation like me and you have.
Yeah.
And I kind of told him that, and I had some stickers. I was like, here's a sticker. I don't know. Shout out if you're listening. Majahid, Majahed. Forgive me if I'm butchering your name, but that guy was dope. Let me tell you a little bit more about how we got. So we landed at LaGuardia. You take a bus to the train, and you take the train into the city, and then we had to get down to Brooklyn. So that means you go into Manhattan, and it brings you in around like the lower part of Central Park. So like one of the first stops is at Fifth Avenue, which is like the southeast corner of Central Park.
Right.
So we got off there. Basically, we took the train all the way to Brooklyn, but we got off the train a few times to like see parts of the city. At that point in the story, we did not know if we were going to be spending very much time in Manhattan. Foreshadowing, Alan. Foreshadowing.
Okay.
We thought this might be our only day in Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the time, we had a hotel that her mother booked for the whole week in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Very long exhale. Her mom doesn't listen. Her brother does, though. Shout out Uncle Steve. So at the time, we're like, let's take advantage of this time in Manhattan. So we got out at that lower corner of Central Park, and we'd made like a little crescent up into Central Park and then back out at the northwest corner and got out at like Columbus Circle, which nothing's a fucking shape that they say they are, right? Like Columbus Circle might be the only thing that actually is, but like Madison Square Garden is
Not
not it's right. It's not a square except for the shape of the circle, but it's in a rectangle of a square. Times Square is a triangle. Madison Square Park is also a triangle. Like just nothing there is what they say it is, but
Right.
it's a different thing.
They're bad at geometry,
Yeah,
apparently.
yeah, apparently, yes.
Yeah.
They probably blame the Dutch. So we did that. We walked down and got some shitty pizza. It was no good. And then we got back on the train and took that to Brooklyn. We go to check in at the hotel. This is not a honeymoon, but her
Right,
mom,
right.
who booked the hotel, did know that this is the first hotel we're going to be in
After your wedding.
as betrothed or as
Right.
newlyweds, right?
Right.
Yeah. Now maybe she just wanted to instill some chastity in us a little bit longer, and just
She separate beds or what?
separate beds would have been nice because we could have put them together. It was one
Right.
full bed, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So we check in, and it's not fair to call it a flea bag. It isn't, because it was clean. The rooms were clean.
Okay. No bed bugs, apparently.
No bed bugs, but there was a period where I was like, "What's this bug bite?" But like bed bugs cluster, like because they come up off the
Right.
mattress and
Yep.
all in the spot. So they put us in our first room, and to get there, it's a half flight of stairs down from the lobby, which means window, eye level. Eye level is street level, and there's like cars right there and people walking by, and anybody
Oh,
can open up
God.
the window and break in and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And it's not like Brooklyn, cool Brooklyn. This is Industry City, Brooklyn. So we're like, it was a shock. We're like, look, like I am not a snob, but like this, I'm not spending a fucking week in this. So like immediately I'm like opening up my Hilton Honors app
Right.
and like, I'm going to get fucking points.
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
book the hotel. And at the time I was like, well, if we're going to stay in Brooklyn, I'll get a better spot in Brooklyn. But I'll tell the rest in a second. She's on the phone with her mom. She gets off the phone with her mom and gets ready to call the lobby. By the time she's on the phone with the people in the lobby, they're telling us that they've talked to her mom, who is, I'm sure, very upset. And her mom doesn't have to live with those people, right? Because like,
Right.
even if it's only for a couple of days, we still have to be around the people she's
Right.
screaming at, right? And so, and I mean, there's no telling that's how she handled it, but that's the fear.
You
right?
don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
The guy was so polite. He was so polite. He's like, I'm so sorry about your room. We can put you up in this other room. And we're like, okay, that's fine. So we go up to that other room, and it's a half a staircase up from the lobby, not a full flight of stairs. So there is no full barrier because it's not like a real doorway. There's no full real barrier from the lobby to the room.
Oh, wow.
So it's like you go up a flight of stairs. There's no doors in that hallway, right? And then it's like 3 doors down on that flight. Are you following me?
So this is only a 2-story hotel? Is this?
No, it's a 3-story hotel, but all the rooms
Okay.
are booked for this convention.
Okay.
we're there
Okay.
for.
Got it. Okay.
So they put us a half a flight up so that we're not on the
ground
subterranean
floor.
level.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
below ground. Ground floor would be fine.
Yes. The basement. Yes.
Yeah. But that comes up again in a little bit. So just remember, it's a direct shot space-wise, tonally, audio-wise from the lobby.
Yeah.
So we get that room and we're like, this is fine. What we'll do is we'll stay here until the convention's over. The last day of the convention, we'll put our bags in the lobby, go to the convention, come back, take the train up to another hotel.
Because the convention was in Brooklyn.
Yes.
So I assume
And
it
her
was
mom,
location.
and I'm shitting on her mom. It's only because she's my mother-in-law now, and I get to. I love her, and she was sweet. She was like, I don't care what it costs. Book another hotel, I'll pay you back. So I booked something I can get points on because I get double points on my Hilton. So when you book a Hilton property, Alan, you get extra points. So,
Yes.
so I booked a hotel in the Fashion District of New York, and I had no idea what to expect from that. That's like a couple blocks south. It's like on 26th Street, and Empire State, just for reference, is on 34th. You could see it from the hotel once we moved there, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So we go to the convention. So the convention is 2 days long, and it's, I don't know, 200 booths, maybe more. I'm probably 300 booths.
Oh, wow.
Every booth has multiple alcohols. What am I talking about? So they have like if it's a rum company, they have like 5 different rums that they're selling. If it's a whiskey company, it's 5 different rums, and they're giving you samples of them. It's an industry convention where you're getting to see what these things taste like.
This is like Beer Fest, but for hard alcohol. But,
yeah,
you can't go if like an average person can't go, right?
Right. Yeah. It's not a beer fest. It's, networking so that brands can meet customers and stuff.
Yeah.
So our job was to meet potential brands that would come to the San Diego convention that her mom does,
Right.
which it was great. Like Natasha's so charming. I just get to sit there and smile and be arm candy, and then occasionally go, and October is a great time to come to San Diego. So here's a card. Like it was a blast. We made a lot of friends. There were some Aussies we ran into while we were there. That's a separate story. This Aussie got us into his jazz club. This guy runs like an exclusive jazz club in New York City, right across from Tiffany's. Like you have to go underground. He put us on the list. It was like amazing. But I'm not going to talk about that. That's the whole story with that. But that guy's awesome. Shout out to Ryan. But a couple of Aussies talk. I got to talk to him about footy.
Nice.
I distracted myself. So there's like hundreds of booths, and every booth is giving you like a full shot of each thing that they're selling.
Right.
So like, we're just like, no, give us a quarter shot and we'll fucking split it, because at the end of the day, that's still like 20 or 30 shots. Like it's a lot, man. It was a lot. And like, and I was like feeling no pain. I had like no anxiety going into anything for that week. Like I hadn't had an anxiety problem for like 2 weeks at that point.
Nice.
Even flying, I was like, this is fine. Why was I worried about this? Right. So a highlight of that day, one of the booths, the guy was like talking to us about his like Canadian Spirits brand. And he's like rudely stops talking to us in the middle of it and like texts somebody. And then he like puts his phone back. He's like, I'm so sorry for being rude. Our sponsor is on his way. Do you know who Bret Hart is? I'm like, do I know who Bret Hart is? I'm like, are you talking about like the Hall of Fame wrestler Bret Hart? Yes.
Yeah.
You talking about my childhood? Yes. Like if you told me Hulk Hogan was there, I'd be like, that's kind of cool. Like, I mean, I don't really have any desire to actually like, I'm not going to like be a fanboy around Hulk Hogan. Like maybe me 15, 20 years ago could have, but now it's like, no, I don't really have any interest.
Yeah. I think we
Bret
know
Hart
too
is
much
still
about
like at the pinnacle, he's still, he's on a pedestal still. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So he's like, well, he's going to be here in 30 minutes. I'm like, I'm going to go cool the fuck off for 30 minutes and try to get my shit in order. I didn't I just watching the clock. And then finally I walked over there. Natasha was like talking to a brand and I was like, I'm afraid there's going to be a line. I'm going to go get there first. I show up. Nobody recognizes him. Not a single person has recognized him.
Wow.
Did you see the picture I posted?
I did. I saw it.
He didn't have a purple tank top on. He didn't have long black hair.
It wasn't obvious.
Yeah. But he saw me looking and he kind of gave me a little cutting a promo look. And I was like, it's a real honor to meet you. I was a total fucking, I kept telling him, I was like, look, I can be a normal person. I'm just not right now. And I'm sorry. He's like, it's okay. And I'm like, my wife's going to be here soon. As soon as she gets here, I'm going to be fine. But like, it is like, I can't believe I'm fucking talking to you and there's no one around. Like, I'm not getting out of line talking.
You're having like a one-on-one conversation with Bret Hart. Like,
I had to like calm down. I was like, dude, I'll probably feel better if I have a shot. He's like, well, let's have a shot. And he poured a shot and we took toast together. It was just,
you did a shot with Bret Hart.
Did a shot with Bret fucking Hart. He was like, do you have a favorite match? And I was like, no, not that I could think of in the moment. I would just say in general, just like I associate your matches with like the nostalgia of like my childhood, the late 80s and 90s. Like I just like, they're like glowing memories. And that's all I can really say. Like, I'm sure if I think about it, I come up with something. He's like, that's a pretty good answer. That's a good answer. And, I told him we eloped. He's like, I eloped with my first wife. I was like, that's my opportunity to tell him this is my third. He's like, I've been married 3 times. I'm like, we got a lot in common. And we fist bumped. He was so fucking cool, man.
That's awesome, dude.
There was something else I was going to say about it. Later on, while I was walking around, I was like, I know what my favorite match was. So when we walked by him again, I was like, this is how it went. I went, hey, he was free. I was like, hey man, I thought about it. My favorite match. He goes, yeah. I go, 1991. And I start to say the rest. He goes, Mr. Perfect. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, that was a good one. I was like,
nice.
It was so cool. It was so fucking cool, man.
Really
Like,
cool.
All right. So then I wake up the next morning. We go out that night. I didn't tell you, fucking Brennan was in town. My asshole brother was in town.
What?
He was in town for a convention. We made it work. Monday night, we were able to go hang out. We went to a tiki bar. It was awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, cool.
So we went out that first night back into Manhattan. We went to a burlesque show and then we went back to our room like 1:30, something like that. I wake up at 7:45 from the lobby. The Cyndi Lauper hit, Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Very loud. And like I told you, it's the open air from the lobby to our room. And I'm just like, I'm wearing like sleepy time shorts, and nothing else. And I just like stomped into the lobby and I'm thinking it's some we say cunt in the show, some cunt in the lobby with her speaker like getting ready to go out, waiting for her
Right.
Uber to arrive. No, it's the TV in the lobby, and the front desk bitch has the fucking song playing. And I point at it, I'm like, can you turn that down? And she's like, really? I'm like, yes, really. My room's like 4 doors away, and I can hear it's 9 a.m. at the earliest you should ever even consider doing
Right.
any shit like this. Like,
Jesus
what
Christ.
the fuck is wrong with you? The show doesn't start till 11, right? And
Right.
I'm all worked up, and now I can't go back to sleep. So I'm
Mhm.
like, you know what? Whenever I go to a new town, I always like to walk that town. This is probably one of the only times I'll just get to grab a coffee and walk the town on my own. So I go. I tell Natasha that. She's like, all right, I'm going to sleep. I'm like, good idea. I wish I could. Should have slept. I should have slept.
Mm.
I get about 5 minutes into this walk, and I realize that I am really still drunk.
Oh. Yeah.
And I also realized that I walked the wrong direction of where anything interesting was going to be. So then I turn around and I go the other direction.
Mhm.
And about that time, I start to feel anxious about the way my body feels from being drunk.
Oh.
No.
And have you had a coffee also?
Not yet.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know that I ever had a coffee yet on that one. So I did go to the coffee shop to get Natasha a coffee, and I needed to eat something, right? And drink a bunch of water. So
Yeah.
I went to a coffee shop. I got a couple of waters. Oh, I needed to eat something, and they had breakfast tacos. They had a whole list of breakfast tacos, and I couldn't comprehend it in my state. And I just said, I'll have a breakfast taco, and he just gave me one. Like, good thing I didn't have any
Just picked one.
allergies. Yeah, it turned out to be the pork one, which would have been bad if I was Natasha.
Ah, yes.
So it was good. I needed that in my stomach. I had like 3 glasses of water. Then I ordered a coffee and a non-pork breakfast taco for Natasha and took that back to the room. But I'm like fighting back anxiety at this point. At this point, I texted Brido. I was like, hey man, before you quit drinking, did you ever like not have a hangover, but have like an anxiety hangover? He's like, yeah, crippling. Just gonna have Bud Lights and power through it. I was like, fuck man.
Jesus.
I kept feeling like something was wrong with me.
Mhm.
And I couldn't shake that feeling. And we got there, we went to the event that day, and Natasha's like, look, I'm not in like a fucking drug addict way, but you'll probably feel better if you have a little bit to drink.
Right.
So we sit down at a really cool booth with they're like a motorcycle branded one. They were the coolest guys there other than the Aussies. Got a chance to talk to them a little later too. And I just kind of told them, I was like, I'm dealing with some anxiety. They're like, have a shot. You'll be good.
You'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And that did give me a little bit of mood change. But I got to tell you, for the rest of the trip, I never felt 100%. I always felt like if I
Really?
drink too much, it's going to be bad tomorrow. And then I'd have
Yeah.
anxiety about that. And then you factor on top of it, you're in like not only a different town, but I don't want to sound like one of these guys from Tennessee that's scared of the city, but it was
Scared.
just, there was never a fucking like place to relax,
Mhm.
even
Yeah.
the room, Plus that was
You just
relaxing, you know what I mean?
You just didn't feel like
It was ill at ease,
Yeah,
and but like literally the second we got home, I was fine. Like we went to the river with the dogs the first day back and just sat in the stream and played fetch with the dogs. It was great. I haven't
Awesome.
felt anxiety a few minutes ago, but I know it's because I took my brain pills and it made my body feel weird.
Mm.
But I swear this won't be the whole fucking show. But I mean, do you think people are annoyed by this?
Absolutely. No, not at all.
Is this
No,
good
I think
storytelling?
This is good storytelling.
Okay. I feel like we listened to Don and Mike, and Don would have turned into a whole 4 hours. Like, well, we're gonna go to break and come back.
He absolutely would have. No, that's a
Yeah.
great story, man. I enjoyed all of it. What
Um,
about you met Mark Normand? You didn't talk.
Yeah,
about...
well, that was like 20 minutes after I met Bret Hart. I was like, what the fuck
Oh.
is happening? Yeah, I met Mark Normand. He was great. I was hoping I could see him. I wanted to ask him. I was hoping he'd be there on the second day. I was like, I'll ask him the bird bath question. Maybe he'd bring it up in his podcast.
You know what? That guy might.
Yeah.
You know,
Damn it.
he went to like a sex club in Europe with his wife, and like, do you know this story?
No.
I'm not going to tell it, but
All
if
right.
you're curious, you can Google it.
Okay.
Uh,
all right.
But yeah, that dude.
I feel like I asked him if he'd come on our show, and he said yes.
that dude gets down, bro.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think he said he'd come on our show.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was very inebriated though, and I was like, "You don't blame me for not remembering details."
No,
It's
not at
just
all.
Bret
We
Hart.
could talk about Bodega Cat. It'll be fun.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I do want to wrap this up. So
Okay.
there's still a lot to the trip left, but I'm not going to play by play that. So
Sure.
that second day was the last day of the convention. So we went back to the hotel. Oh, when we checked out that morning, they're like checking out early, and it was like an hour and a half after that bitch was doing the shit with the music. And Natasha was like, "Yeah, we're leaving early. Yeah, you're playing fucking." She like leans into this lady. I'm like, "Hey, This lady has to watch our luggage. Like,
Right.
don't, like, she's gonna give one of our bags away and be like, oopsies. Like, don't do that. Sasha's like, she
Dude.
deserves it. I'm like, I know she deserves it. She definitely deserves it.
What a shit hotel experience. That's
It,
crazy.
it did suck. I will say the Hilton did not suck. So we took the
Oh,
train
I'm-
into the
yeah.
Hilton. I feel like we did something on the way to the hotel, but when you checked into the hotel, it was amazing. They put us on like the 20th floor out of 22. Which was
Nice.
pretty nice.
That's where you want to be.
It said like happy honeymoon when we checked in.
Oh,
Yeah, they were sweet there. Also, the reviews were the rooms are spacious, the beds were comfortable, but the staff was rude. I'm like, first of all, this is New York. Second
Right.
of all, that's the like
Compared-
out of the list of 3 things. I don't fucking care. Staff was excellent. Highly recommend the Hilton in the Fashion District. They were all lovely. Guess what it was across the street from?
I was going to ask
Sid
about the view.
Gold's of New York City, the original Sid Gold's.
Oh shit.
The place we went where those people tried to ruin our wedding.
Right.
Yeah, it was awesome. We checked in. I walked over. I let Natasha unpack. I walked over to a schmegma place and got that street schmegma. What do you call that? Shawarma. Sorry.
Shawarma.
Shawarma. Sorry.
Shawarma schmegma. Very, very different.
Did I write down street schmegma?
Yes, you should.
Okay, street schmeg. How do you spell schmegma?
SMEG.
You think it's a CH? Seems like it's a CH. But it's maybe just a CH with that Hebrew accent, right?
Yeah, I think it's just
I think schmegma is one of the best words that the Hebrew ever brought into English.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a great word.
It's pretty good.
There was a coffee place there. I went to get her a latte, and I was like, I'm just here on my honeymoon. The guy was like, "This one's free." I'm like, "You guys are what the fuck?"
Oh, that's
Yeah, it was
awesome.
great. Yeah. While we were in New York, we had a couple of days in Manhattan. We went to the Met. It was awesome. Natasha wanted to go to this like dress exhibit that was really cool, but I looked at like all the Roman and Greek. She was there too, but we went to the Roman and Greek architecture. Sculptures and artifacts. They have a whole Egyptian exhibit that's been there since the 20s that they straight up lifted like a tomb and moved it to New York City. Then we walked through Central Park after that.
Wait, is that the Smithsonian or what was that?
No, the Met. The
Met,
where
okay.
they do the gala and
Oh
stuff.
yeah. Okay.
There was a Harlem Renaissance exhibit where they had Josephine Baker. They had some Josephine Baker footage that it was like exclusive. Nobody has, I guess. That was kind of cool to see, and a lot of beautiful artwork. But at that point, I was getting fussy because I needed to eat.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We saw the Chrysler Building. That always makes me happy. I love seeing the Chrysler Building. It's my favorite building. It's got the gargoyles on it.
Mhm, mhm.
And we went to a very expensive burlesque dinner show. I've never had a bill for food that was this high.
No
And
shit.
Natasha paid for it. I was like, oh, that was a nice experience. I did not expect this. It was a cool burlesque show. I highly recommend. It's called Dwayne Park, but save up first.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know. There's probably a lot that I'm forgetting. I'll interrupt in some other episode and talk about some other experience.
Dude, that sounds like an awesome time, man. I'm so
Oh,
proud of you. I'm
I
so
saw
happy for
Smurf.
you.
I got to see Smurdell. We went over to Hoboken and spent a night with Smurdell. And if you're hanging out with anybody from the Midwest, you got to pack your liver. Like, bring your extra liver with you because those guys get down. It was a great time.
Nice.
Hoboken's awesome. You see the whole skyline from the Hoboken shoreline. Like,
Dude,
it's
the Jersey
directly-
side is actually pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like it's like one of America's safest cities. And it's like, do the people that do the crime know that it's a 15-minute train
It's
under the
really
water to
close.
get here? Like, yeah.
Nice. Dude,
what
I'm so happy for you, dude.
Thank you. I could not
Congratulations.
be happier. Thank you. I appreciate the congratulations. I do deserve it. And
You
I
do.
mean, Natasha is lovely. It was the honor of a lifetime to get to marry her. And I think you guys know I'm smitten. So
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. It's yeah, I don't have words for it, but I'm very, very content in my. You know what it is? It was part of my vows. I told her that I ran out of dreams to come true, and so now I got to start coming up with new things to do. It's like, well, I'm married the love of my life. I have a house in Nashville. Got my dogs. I guess we'll come up with some new shit, but for now, I'm very content. Very, very content.
Couldn't be happier for you, dude.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Shall we get into our comedy clips?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. Thank you all for indulging me there. Speaking of Appalachians, this is a clip that Young Thrash Lad sent in that says it is dealing with Appalachians. The comedian is Drew. I'm guessing it's Drew Morgan. It can't be Drew Morgan. Yeah. Drew Morgan, Drew Morgan Comedy.
This accent, this is an Appalachian accent. Maybe you've heard of Appalachia, like on a segment on NPR about who's to blame for all this. People are very afraid
The Dutch planters are who's to blame for all this. Don't blame the Appalachians.
of my accent. I get that. People say hateful stuff with this accent. I think it's overblown. For the most part, the wildest thing you'd ever hear out of this accent is something like, I don't trust banks, so I stuff my money in these dead raccoons, you know? It doesn't bother me, though, that if you're afraid of it. What bothers me is that people aren't afraid of other accents. It feels like there's unfair standards, you know? Like, people say to me, I do shows all over the country, they're like, well, I just wish you had that good Southern accent. You know, that nice one, that soothing one, that slow, drip draw.
Southern Mississippi.
Sugar, I have been put asunder by the heat, sugar. Father has been gone for days. The crops are not doing well, Drew. Why don't you talk like a cat in heat in a Tennessee Williams poem? Because my ancestors didn't own people, that's why. Thank you, but you don't have to clap. I'm not bragging. You're not supposed to own people. It's not a brag. It's me telling you why they talk that way, guys. That's why they speak that. You're afraid of the wrong accent. When you have people doing stuff for you all day long, you have to fill the space with something. They didn't have the internet. They just slowed their sentences down. This accent.
I love it. I fucking love it. Man, I'm all rusty. I got to press this one. Start with George Bush. That's good. That was good.
I did not expect that punchline. It was good.
No, I don't either. People know that is the Dutch planters that started all that shit, right? I'm motherfucking the Dutch left and right between New York
really
State
are
and this.
going
right?
hard.
I mean, they okay, come on, look. Like, I don't hate modern Dutch people. That would be rude, but like, we can historically give the Dutch a lot more shit than we do.
It's true.
They like a lot more shit.
A lot.
They're like, well, the British and they steal all these things and the colonizers. It's like, yeah, but what the Dutch did is the thing you're really mad at. The other people are like, well, if they're doing it,
Yeah, where'd they learn it from? You know? Like,
yeah. That's right. I didn't know any better. Learned it from these Dutch. Yeah, that's it. Hey, Alan sent this one in. This is an AR-15 beer. I don't remember this. I think
I don't either.
Inside Unseen. It was probably from about 2 weeks ago.
I'm much more of a beer person. I love
This is Sawyer Stoll.
beer. Beer's so good. I cannot drink beer like I used to, right? Can't shotgun my beers anymore. Getting old. So what I do now is I AR-15 my beers. Yeah. So I take a lot of little sips in a high school cafeteria.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
I remember it now.
Oh Jesus! There's not more to that, right?
No.
Okay, good.
That was the whole thing.
All right. Well, this one says classroom. This says American Classroom. This is from Loadmaster.
I think
This is Alex Cumin. Wow, hot name. Alex Kumin.
Oh,
Guess what?
okay.
part of our problem in America is that it's too big. This country is too big with like too many conflicting personalities, right? This country feels like an overcrowded public school classroom with just a burnt out teacher at the helm, you know? Just like, all right, guys, we're going to be going over U.S. history today. Texas, put the gun down. I'm not going to ask you again. Washington, is it a question or a story? Yeah, you just want to make sure everyone knows your pronouns have changed? Yeah, all right, we're all going to learn them. Florida, stop slapping the gay kids. Come on. Honey, who are you? Mexico? How'd you get in here? Through the window? All right, I don't care, but the front office is going to be pissed if you don't register with them. Everyone get ready for the active shooter drill.
The theme.
I think part of our problem in America is
It restarted. It's restarted.
Yeah.
Yeah, the volume was really low on that.
It was. That was pretty good, though.
That was very good. Alex Cumin. Guess what? Christian sent this in. Well, you know what they say about comedy, Alan? It's all about
Timing.
We nailed it.
I'm going to demonstrate how good my timing is with this next joke. It's going to be exactly 60 seconds long. I need somebody's help. Sir in the hoodie, the Nike
Is Ryan Goodcase.
hoodie, do you mind helping me with this? What I want you to do is to count backwards in your head from 60 to 0, and when I point at you, yell out what number you're on. Does that make sense? Go ahead and start. So I was talking to my dad recently, and my dad's a pretty old guy. He was born in like
56.
So I don't know how old that makes him, but it's sure older than
48.
right, guys? So anyways, he's like a rough and tumble guy, and I was trying to brag to him one day. I don't know how it comes up, but he goes, Ryan, how many women did you sleep with in college? And I was like, I don't know, probably like
40.
Which is a total lie. It's a total lie. Like, if I was being honest with him and I counted all the women I've ever slept with throughout my entire life, the number would probably be closer to
27.
I did not point yet.
Wait. He's ready to point.
2.
Hey, right in the butt, look at that. Yeah. Comedy's all about timing.
Oh, that is so good.
That was very well done.
Oh man,
That deserved a
that
Taylor
should have
Swift.
been the closer. I intentionally, once I saw where that was going, I was like, I don't want to see this for the show. Speaking of sex, Alan, I did stagger this in here just strategically. Way sent this one in.
I think pulling out's fun. It feels like pump faking God.
Jack Ferguson.
I like to think every time I pull out, God's up in heaven thinking he's about to bring a new life into the world. And then I'm just like, oh, too slow. Got you again, Jesus. You gotta be quicker than that. Which I teach, right? Like, put that soul back in the refrigerator. I don't think...
Put that soul back in the refrigerator.
And speaking of nameless, damn it. Wow. I almost, you know what? I set these up really well and I stepped on it right there. Speaking of sexual activity, let's go with Nameless sent this one in. This is damn good and historically accurate.
Oh, it's
This
not
is okay, thanks. This is Jacob Samuel.
Lately, not as a potential purchaser, as a pedestrian, seeing them around, because that's been a popular minivan for like 30 years now. The Odyssey. It sounds very epic, but I think that shows that a lot of people are not well versed in Greek mythology. 'Cause I don't know if you know the Odyssey, but it was not a successful trip. Like, a lot of things went really wrong on the Odyssey. If you don't understand, what I'm saying is that Honda named a vehicle meant for transporting children after a journey that famously had one survivor. I mean, unless your name's Odysseus, you're not walking away from the Odyssey. Right? It would have been a safer association if they had called it the Honda Hindenburg. Or Land Titanic.
Oh, God.
I crunched the numbers on this, okay? If you had taken the Titanic and then gotten on the Hindenburg and played Russian roulette 5 times, you have a better chance of being alive than going on the Odyssey. If you know the story, an Odyssey literally means you suffer incredibly for 10 years while dozens of men try to seduce your wife.
He's bona fide.
So on second thought, I guess that is what it's like to own a minivan.
There we go.
That's well done. That's very
Jacob
well done.
Samuel, ladies and gentlemen, to close out our comedy segment. Which, by the way, I know everyone on earth knows this, but I still like to say it when I can. Oh, brother, where art thou is the Odyssey. And I didn't recognize it when I watched it the first time until the Cyclops scene with John Goodman playing the Cyclops. Yeah.
Right.
But remember, he's got bona fides. He comes back, everybody's after his wife. Okay, well, let's get into our how about that. Here's a clip from Hunk with Mike Bridenstine. Oh wait, don't I have a button when we're playing? How about that?
Oh, how about that?
Oh well, sorry. How about that segment? So Brido has been on his deep dive looking into the most legendary open mic story of all time.
Right.
Where this guy, Kyle Paris, went to, his face is up on the screen here. He was an open mic comic
in Kansas City.
And he showed up to the open mic thinking it would be a fun bit to say he's an animal trainer and he's going to pull out a roadkill that he found on his way to the show that he'd kept in a cooler in the back of a hot truck because he forgot to pick up ice.
This story. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So here's a clip from that. I'm playing this so that you go and listen to the most recent episode of Hunk with Mike Bridenstine, where he
listen to it.
this
It's
guy
worth
get
it.
the whole story. So many more details. Mike's been diving into this for a few months now.
Yeah.
And he's been talking about it with comics for longer than that. And there's still it's so legendary amongst comics talking about it. It's amazing how many famous comics were in the room when it happened. But here.
I grabbed the vacuum.
Oh my
The
God.
vacuum's already plugged in. I plugged it in before the show. And I turn the vacuum on. I stick the hose attachment into the animal's mouth. And I didn't know this at the time, but due to the fact that it's a vacuum, it moves the air. It sucks in air, then it blows air out. So that's how a vacuum works. It has to circulate the air in order to suck shit up.
Right.
So it actually permeated the smell.
Yeah.
As soon as I turned the vacuum cleaner on, that smell hit the back row. And within minutes, and the people, I could see the people on the front row, their eyes were watering and they had their mouths covered.
Did I say it was a possum? Did I say it was a dead possum?
I don't think you did.
He thought it was a ferret. Like, he thought he found a ferret. Like, why does that matter? But
And he went to he tried like 3 different roadkills that he found, and he was like, "This is the best one. I'll
it was
take
the
this
most
one."
intact. Yeah, he
Yes.
didn't want like arms to be off. Yeah.
As soon as I brought the animal out of the cooler, they realized also that this was not a puppet. This was not a prop. I mean, it was a prop, but it wasn't like a fake prop. This was an actual dead animal.
Yeah.
I grabbed the vacuum.
Oh my
The
God.
vacuum's already plugged in.
Okay, start it over. Oh, how about that?
Oh, how about that?
How about that, indeed?
Yeah, go listen to Hunk with Mike Bridenstine.
Yeah, it's worth it. That I mean, don't do it when you're not eating lunch or something.
Yes.
but
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
definitely worth the listen. Funny as hell.
Here's some funny Aussie slang. I think it's the U.S. State Department was trolling Australia.
The US Embassy to Australia posted a guide to Australian slang on their Twitter account. Okay, they had a fun little graphic. It said, "Australia, speak like a local." It had a list of American words and a list of those words translated into Australian. All right, moving to the list. For shoes, they've got chubbers, which is not a thing at all. For money, they've got dollary doos, which was a joke from The Simpsons. For cigarette, they've got koala log. Piss off, America. It's durry, you yank dogs. Check this out. For kangaroo, they've got bouncy mouse. What the fuck are you talking about? All right, last few words here. For
It is wild that in Australia, like we have deer that run across the street. Like the deer that run across the street in Australia are kangaroos.
That is pretty wild.
toilet, they've got Bogga Bogga. Airplane is Skygator. Moon, Mother Onion. And car trunk is Finnegan's Hole. Just a reminder, we followed these people into Iraq, okay? We spent billions of our hard-earned dollary dues helping America send that country down the fucking Bogga Bogga, and this is how these freshies talk to us. Jesus Christ. Can you believe these were the first ones to the Mother Onion? Fuck me dead. Oh, Tom, check the date. It was probably posted on April Fool's Day. Nah, September 28th, okay? 17 days after the anniversary of that fateful morning when those evil terrorist drongos flew 2 Skygators into the fucking flaming 20 big sticks, this is what the US Embassy is serving up. Struth, blow me down, blimey, fuck these seppos in their Finnegan's Hole. Trump 2024, have a great festival. Good night, everyone.
So Seppos is Aussie slang for Americans. It's rude. It's for septic tanks.
That's very funny.
the whole Seppo
I mean, somebody at the State Department has a pretty good sense of humor too.
Yeah, I suppose so. Here's one for South Australia, which is a name of a territory. The South Australia contains Adelaide, where the Crows play bad football. So they had an ad. They previously had an ad that was,
I'm just reading the headline and I'm like, that's pretty funny already.
Yes, yeah. So they previously had an ad. I think they'll address it here. I guess they don't. They had another one. Oh, they had they had one for the Northern Territory that said "See you in the Northern Territory."
Okay.
Which,
C-U-N-T. Yeah.
I think I got it.
See you in Toledo.
Well, hold on, Alan. I got stuck here. Don't I have that one? This is great timing. Pad for me.
Oh my God.
There we go.
There you go.
So this one is about going to Southern Australia.
Is it time to discover a new zest for life and explore our hidden delights? It's time to go down south with your mouth.
Hidden delights indeed.
You're going straight to horny jail, Alex. You know, like the corgos hitting it, bonk, bonk, bonk. Or are they Shibus? Yeah, they're Shibus. Yeah, it's South Australia, not Southern Australia. You better get it right, since I'm going to have to fill out paperwork to become a citizen someday soon. That would be the life, right? Retire in Australia, just on the other side of the planet.
That would be
know.
cool.
We could still do a show from there. Work that out. This one's pretty interesting. I haven't heard anybody talking about this. So the French are having the French are having the Olympics in I think a matter of weeks. And to prepare for it, they're trying to clean out the
Seine.
Yeah, that's it. Seine River. And they're trying to be like, don't poo in the Seine or something like that. And people are protesting it because Olympics lose money. I think that gets covered in the clip. Let me play this.
I thought that the French protests were unhinged before, but this might be the single most hilarious way of protesting I've ever seen. As we all know, Paris is hosting the Summer Olympics, but a lot of French people aren't very happy about that. Because, and I only found out about this today, the Olympics is kind of a scam when it comes to a country actually making money. Don't get me wrong, it's great for global street cred, but for example, when China hosted it, they made a net loss of 36.4 billion, and London made a net loss of 13 billion, and that's all taxpayer money. So when the public heard that France has already spent over 5 billion, and then that Macron wanted to spend another billion just to clean up the Seine River, so it looks good for the Olympics,
I'm kind of laughing at the Chinese taxpayer line, but I'm going to move on from it.
they lost it, and the I shit in the Seine River protest began. On the 23rd of June, the French President Macron and the Paris mayor plan to take a ceremonial swim in the river to show off just how clean it is. So the protesters are now planning a defecation flash mob because, and I quote, after putting us in shit, it's up to them to bathe in our shit. Oh, and if you don't live in Paris, no bloody problem, because someone created this website. You type in how many kilometers you are away from Paris, and using a water flow algorithm, it will tell you precisely the day and the exact time you need to shit into the river to reach Paris at the time Macron will be swimming in it. Oh, I told you, and that is why I say, I thought
I hate this new deal on Instagram where they end reels so that they start at the beginning.
I hate that too.
So and the entire purpose is you'll accidentally watch it twice,
Just
right?
loop it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I got double the likes or views or whatever. Fuck off.
That is very funny and very French, though.
Yes.
That they're doing.
The French.
Yes.
We are a mental health podcast. I think we like to deal with that quite a bit. Ariel sent this in. I think, did I got a name there? Is it Ariel?
Ariel was
later on
before.
Ariel,
French.
thanks for sending in the poo-poo protest.
Yeah.
So this is why your frustration is valid. I think feel a lot of frustration. Oh, and I didn't unmute it. Maybe I should. Well, you know what? Let's roll it.
Really annoyed when someone smaller and weaker than you tells you you're doing something wrong. That's because for the last 100,000 years of human evolution, you were just allowed to bash those people over the head with a rock until they were dead. And now that's murder. I don't feel bad. Those feelings are normal. You ever notice you get really annoyed?
That's all. Those feelings are normal. That's all.
Normal.
Oh,
you want to bash people over the
yeah. If you feel that way, just understand it used to be okay. You know?
Evolution, baby.
Yeah. Do the evolution, as Pearl Jam taught us on that very obscure album that nobody references. This one is Roman history. So that Cody Tucker guy, I like playing his clips. This is a Roman word. Maybe did you know?
Back in ancient Rome, the area around Rome was filled with a bunch of marshlands. Those marshlands smelled terrible. The people in Rome believed that there was a terrible disease caused by the air around those marshlands. We now know that it had nothing to do with the air, but the mosquitoes that were living in the marshes that were causing that disease. We still use the same name that they used for that disease. The Latin word for bad air. Bad, mal, air, area. Malaria.
Oh, how about that? How
Isn't
about
that
that?
something? Isn't that something?
Is that where the vapors comes from also? Like that was a old timey word.
You know what? We'll ask Cody if he'll give us if this Cody number 2 will give us. We'll ask him about the vapors. The vapors. Give me the vapors.
Oh, and we can ask him about herpes too. I recently learned something about herpes.
Is it like a his peas herpes thing?
No.
Oh, okay.
So if I
Alan, did you recently learned about herpes?
no,
You want to tell us about this?
So do you know
Got
the
shit on your
etymology?
lip? Got some shit on its lip?
Do you know the etymology of it?
No. Why don't you tell us?
So if I say herpetologist, do you know what that is?
Reptiles.
Snakes specifically, yeah. Reptile snakes, yeah. So that's the Greek word for like snake essentially. And so because herpes untreated just kind of like goes through your body like a snake and just envelops everything and kills you. People died from herpes all the time. but-
Nobody's died from herpes, Alan.
Back in the day.
On this podcast, it just goes through. You're thinking of syphilis.
No, herpes.
Maybe
is
you
what-
were thinking of syphilis.
Okay, sure.
I don't think herpes kills anybody.
I think back in the day.
It kills the mood. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
You want to hear this clip I have of
I
Gandhi's
do.
real
I do.
voice?
Yes.
And Gandhi was alive within like people that are alive now his lifetime, right? Like barely.
Barely, yes.
Barely. But you know, there's not a lot of recordings of him, so this is really cool. Yeah. Let me share this tab. So this is Gandhi's real voice from 1931.
Sir, please don't redeem the gift card.
All right. All right.
I didn't.
I got it. Let's just move on. This is I don't know who sent that in. They probably don't want us to give them credit. Huge life hack. Joey sent this in. This is a life hack, and my only note is dumpster. If that's it's one of those say the weird thing.
Oh, okay.
People are desperately seeking realness.
If you have a whole lot of junk to get rid of, it's cheaper to go buy a storage unit for $29.99 a month, pay for it for 1 month, and never do it again, rather than to go buy a $300 rollaway dumpster. Plus, you get a little extra side mission to where you can actually go to the auction and watch somebody buy your junk.
Interesting. Oh, how about that?
Clever.
It's very clever.
Yeah.
Very, very clever.
Man, some of this could have gone into the pre-show. It's just feels like it's getting long, but we'll see. You know what? We haven't done a show in 2 weeks.
Indeed.
Music. We got a little music segment, at least one song. I don't want you to look, so I think you need to not look, and I want you to guess who's singing. Then I want you to guess who's playing guitar. Okay.
Okay.
This one's a real treat, Alan. A real treat. This is not a prank. This isn't Gandhi voice prank. You got it. You got to know who that voice was. I can tell you if
I don't know who that voice is.
Tom Jones.
Oh!
Yes,
Okay,
Tom Jones.
okay,
All
okay.
right. All right. You know what? Let's restart it, and then I'll let you guess the who the guitar
player.
I made a fucking career off of covers alone.
Yeah.
You just named the band that the guitar player's from.
Is it Slash?
No.
Sounds like Slash. Poison?
More
What's it?
prog rock.
Prog rock.
More like prog rock or psychedelic, I suppose. I'll say it now so you get a chance to hear it. It's David Gilmour from Pink Floyd.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Do you consider them prog rock? I think by definition they are. But it probably threw you off because you were associating that with like 80s, 90s.
I was definitely. Yeah. How did those two end up on the stage together?
What'd you say?
I said, how did those two end up on a stage together?
What is that?
seems
Like,
bizarre.
I don't know. What's it say? It was at some concert. Mark the 8th anniversary of print. Oh, no. No answer. Don't know.
Okay. Because Prince was still alive when they did that, clearly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, because this video was from 92.
Right.
No, I don't know. You asked me a question I couldn't answer. That's okay. It's okay to not know everything, right?
Okay to not know. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, guess this one.
Okay. The
Oh,
singer
it's
or the
not
guitar?
available. No, doesn't matter. Not available.
Okay.
Guessing it was going to be a joke, but that's fine. This guy outsmarted Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Ooh.
And you're young enough to have gotten participation trophies.
Listen, don't start.
You know what happened when you come in second?
Yeah, I'm
in my
trying to
day?
answer your question,
You know,
sire.
you know what it was called when you came in second? You lost.
In my book, if you come second, then you're a generous lover.
Very good.
It was a sex.
Oh, how about that?
It's a sex
That,
show.
that was well done. That was well done.
And you're young enough.
I hate people that bitch about participation trophies. 'Cause
Same.
They act like it's some like generation that they weren't a part of. I've never heard anybody say that isn't my age. Like they're like, oh, these kids with their participation trophies. It's like I remember getting one and being pissed off and disappointed. Like I
Right.
remember being like, I didn't deserve this, and
This
like
is
it was-
bullshit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the pizza party.
Sure.
Round table in Rancho Bernardo. That was a good time.
Nice.
I miss Round Table, man. Then all my friends worked at Round Table, and I heard about their kitchen.
And then you're
But
like,
I did get pictures for free when I was like 16 and 17.
Nice.
Pictures of Sierra Nevada and like pizzas with whole cloves of garlic on pepperoni on it. It was fucking awesome, man. Oh.
Sounds like a great time.
Did you know? Remember we played that clip a couple weeks ago where they were saying the Smurfs were Satanists and stuff like that. This is a continuation of that. They're talking about Yoda.
At Yoda right now, and Yoda was.
You see the name of this account? Deuteronomy memes. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy.
Called the Zen Master. Of course, this was based on Zen Buddhism. He's a three-fingered, three-toed beast. So he has the two fingers and the thumb, which from my information means Satan is Lord. Looking at Yoda right now. And
He's the Satan is Lord.
Oh, how about that?
Satan is Lord.
I had another video I saw where they said all the Star Wars names were wrong, but you can just switch the Star Wars movies names. So like, Last Jedi or whatever it
A
was.
New Hope or
yeah. It actually makes sense.
It actually, I think
You've
I've
probably
seen
seen
it.
that. That's why I
Yeah,
didn't put it in the show. And like, I feel like people have seen this. People that would like that have probably seen it. Flag confusion and flag confusion is all I have here.
Is it upside down?
No, different flag confusion. That comes up in the second half, Alan.
In a bizarre dance of mistaken identities on the global stage, in 2015, a Russian plane was shot down by Turkey, prompting Russians to storm the Turkish embassy in retaliation. Turkish people, mistaking it for a declaration of war, stormed the Dutch embassy as
their flag looks so similar.
They confused the Dutch flag with the Russian flag.
The Dutch were asking for it, though, right? Yeah,
I
we
mean-
might call this episode "Fuck the Dutch," but
That's just karma, man. That's just karma.
They had it coming.
In 2017, the Turkish president went to the Netherlands to campaign for Turkish votes. However, due to the 2015 incident, the Netherlands hadn't forgiven Turkey, leading to a ban on Turkish entry. This further angered the Turkish, resulting in them burning the French flag on the streets,
It's rotated 90 degrees.
mistaking it for the Dutch flag. In a
And you know what's funny? All of those flags are the Norwegian flag, which you won't be able to see on my tattoo. But the Norwegian flag is called the mother of all flags because there's like 20 flags that could be
Derived
isolated.
from,
yeah. If you like make a square out of like multiple sections of the Norwegian flag, it would be many countries' flags. Only 2 more clips from How About That? And honestly, I think we're doing just fine, Alan. Just fine.
Just fine.
I'm going to play this clip that Loadmaster sent in until you tell me to stop. Probably get the explosion ready. I will go until you tell me to stop.
No, it's not up.
All right.
Did you see that Boeing accident? Which one? Dude, a guy lit himself on fire. Which one? Did you see what happened in the war? Which one? Dude, that rapper got arrested. Which one? Did you see that crazy AI thing? Which one? Dude, that whistleblower died. Which one? Did you see that Zendaya movie? Which one? Dude,
Blow it up. Blow it up.
that house is so expensive. Which one?
You get it.
Yeah, I get it. He's not wrong.
Where's the Chris Hansen clips? I'll go until you tell me to stop. Remember, he likes grape. Isn't that what he's saying? He says, I like grape. So he was asking him his favorite flavor. He's like, well, grape. Where is that? Why didn't I make that one a different color so I could find it? Oh, there it is.
I'll be the best sex you will ever have. I like grape.
See, he likes grape soda.
Right.
A lot of people like grape soda. I don't care for it, but
I don't care for it either.
Yeah. I like grape Jolly Ranchers, though. Oh,
I don't like artificial.
That sounded like I said what he said.
I don't like artificial grape flavor at all.
I like it in Jolly Ranchers only. Oh, here's some more mental health, and this will close off. How about that?
I did not interview men for the first 4 years of my study. And it wasn't until a man looked at me one day after a book signing and said, I love what you have to say about shame. I'm curious why you didn't mention men. And I said, I don't study men. And he said, that's convenient. And I said, why? And he said, because you say to reach out, tell our story, be vulnerable. But you see those books you just signed for my wife and my 3 daughters? I said, yeah. They'd rather me die on top of my white horse than watch me fall down. When we reach out and be vulnerable, we get the shit beat out of us. And don't tell me it's from the guys and the coaches and the dads. Because the women in my life are harder on me than anyone else. So I started interviewing men and asking questions. And what I learned is this. You show me a woman who can actually sit with a man in real vulnerability and fear, I'll show you a woman who's done incredible work. I did not.
I'll play the button because I have to.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah. Wilson will be upset if I don't press the button. But okay, by the end, I got her point. I feel like the guy was definitely projecting, but the point made by the end, I think, has a lot of truth to it in the sense that I think a lot of men are afraid to be that vulnerable with a woman that won't. Like the woman
in the tree.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Yeah.
Which, by the way, man, like that was a good joke, but that connected with a lot of people. Like, I mean, including you.
Yeah, it definitely did.
Yeah.
It definitely did.
We're all just doing this shit together, That's why
Trying.
I do not mean to brag, but that's why I feel like what me and Natasha have is so special. And
That's beautiful.
earmuffs,
Yeah.
Tasha, done this a few times, Alan. Like, it's not the same,
That's awesome.
Wish I didn't waste a lot of time, but I also wouldn't have been the person that I am with her now. So
Sure.
let's get into.
Isn't that something?
This one's kind of a conspiracy. This lady's pointing out that in some photos,
People
President Xi
noticed-
seems to be here.
Something strange about Xi Jinping's height when he met with Ma Ying-jeou, Taiwan's former president who visited China recently. It seems that she has grown taller. This was the picture of the two when they first met in Singapore in 2015. She was just a bit taller and their eyes were almost on the same level. This was the picture taken last week. Please notice how short President Ma looked next to Xi Jinping, and their eyes are not on the same level. The question is, did Xi Jinping wear high heels to appear domineering in front of the former Taiwanese president?
Isn't that something?
I mean,
Yes.
you also can't see like what they're standing on. It could be
Or like depth of field or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it does sound like
does.
sound like something they would do though.
It does. Yeah. It
Can't
does.
trust him. Those shifty
Communist.
Xi Jinpings. That's what I meant. Yeah. Yeah. Henry Yang. Okay, so I guess I did not organize this very well. I had like 2 things that didn't move your fucking cursor, Alan. Thank you. Well, not there. Okay, thank you. So we've got some stuff coming up about Ukraine. That Israel. Well, I thought I had more about Israel. I guess I've got nothing about Israel this week. Fantastic. Let's talk about it. Maybe I don't have a clip, but we got some stuff about Ukraine, and then we got some election stuff, and then we'll a wackadoo, and we'll go to half. But before we do that, I really liked this clip that Andrew Yang had to say. He asked a question about Sarah Palin, and then about her running mate, and then it goes into a thing about ranked choice. That sets it up just fine. I'll share my thoughts about it. I bet you'll have the same thoughts. We'll see.
How many of you have heard of Sarah Palin? How many of you have heard of Mary Peltola? Mary Peltola is the relatively anonymous state legislator who defeated Sarah Palin for a congressional seat in 2022. Now, in a conventional system, Sarah Palin probably wins the Republican primary and then probably wins the general election because Alaska is a red-leaning state. In this new system in Alaska that was changed in 2020, now you have the top 4 candidates of any party get through to the general election, and then they are chosen via ranked choice voting. This is an Alaskan ballot, and you can choose up to 4 candidates, first, second, third, fourth choice. In this new system, via ranked choice voting, Mary Peltola ends up emerging as the winner in the second round, in part because a critical mass of Alaskan voters put her second. I want you all to imagine 6, 8, 10 US senators who are all of a sudden freed of their party primary and a similar number of members of Congress. Do you think that would meaningfully rationalize American politics and change them for the better? The total cost would be about $200 million, which is only 2% of the $10 billion that are going to be spent turning Americans against each other, making us hate and fear each other over the next number of months. How much should be spent realigning our incentives so that government actually works? How many of you?
Good question, right? Oh, button.
Isn't that something,
Alan?
No, I think ranked choice makes a lot of sense, and I think that that's one example that he points out there, but I think you can look at lots of different examples in primaries where, especially now with so just think about what's happening in Indiana right now.
Indiana?
Indiana, yeah, with
I don't know
Lieutenant.
what's happening in Indiana? Is Reverend Peyton doing a show?
No, the lieutenant governor was picked by the convention. So the governor elect, or the person who's running for governor in the Republican Party, picked his lieutenant governor, but the convention rejected it because the far right of the party was like, no, they don't. That person doesn't pass the purity test. So they got.
How do I not know this? I do a show with you.
It's Indiana.
Two
they got
states
this
away.
guy. They got this guy named Micah, who they elected to be his lieutenant governor running mate, right?
Okay.
And this guy's like a super Christian nationalist, like way far right. And so the reason that happened though is because you have these edges of the party that are basically
Me and the boys
able to control what who actually is on the ballot, as opposed to the more centrists, right? And so there's more and more of these purity tests of, did you support Trump enough? Are you far right enough on this issue or that issue, which further moves you away from actually the center of your populace. And that's the same thing is happening here. And if you have ranked choice voting, then that sort of mitigates some of that issue in that you don't have these polar extremes being who you end up with as your candidates. And so I think it makes a lot of sense.
Does. I'm hearing you say that it's easy to be a centrist, but edging is all about control.
Yes. Yes.
Don't you feel like, so whenever I hear people talk bad about ranked choice, they talk about it being confusing. But I feel like the people that say that are people that want their like minority candidate to have been the winner, which is weird because it does kind of favor a minority to be someone, a majority of people second place.
Right.
I don't,
it's not that confusing, but I definitely think it lessens the polarization within the election.
I agree. Yes. I also think that the people that talk about it being too confusing are too stupid. And they're basically telling you that they can't figure out how voting works. And I don't think that we should have to live under the elected officials that the stupidest people vote for. So I'm kind of fine with people being like, this is too confusing. I can't do this. Like, okay, don't.
Yeah,
you can't understand ranked choice. I'm fine not living under.
Stay home.
Yeah, I encourage you. Yeah. I think if we're going to talk about Israel at all, I mean, okay, a lot's happened in the last couple of weeks. First of all, did you see them using the trebuchets?
No, I don't think
Are you
so.
familiar with trebuchets? Autists out there, chill. Alan, are you familiar
Yeah,
with the trebuchet?
thing that-
Okay, just checking. Okay,
Yeah.
it's not a catapult. It's
No,
different. It's cooler.
different.
All right.
Yeah. Yes.
So they were up against the border of Lebanon using a trebuchet and fireballs to clear out brush away from the border so that they could get their offensive started. Starting brush fire. And you know what? Thrash said it best. He's like, maybe we judge the IDF too harshly. They're out there using trebuchets. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to pick against them, you know. Like,
I mean, trebuchets are pretty cool.
they're
Did you see
pretty
the thing-
cool, right? Yeah.
Did you see the thing with the bridge or the the pontoon bridge that we
The
built?
dock, the pier. It's not a pier, it's a dock.
So now they're saying that
Yes,
they
which
had
is
to
good
move
they
it
had to
because
say it's never made for that environment. It's amazing it's being used for this. It's also 60s and 70s technology and all that shit. When they talk about the dollar amount, all that money was already spent as a line item. They're like, okay.
it's only been actually like operational for like 10 days of
The argument against it is that it has not been cost effective to the amount of aid it's provided. 100%.
Well, and also I don't know what you're hearing from, sort of more right voices, but I'm hearing some people saying that this was just basically a publicity stunt for Biden to appeal to his base, and it never was going to be that effective. I don't think that's true, but I'm hearing.
I mean, I think it had potential, but I think its upside was pretty limited.
Yeah.
Potential upside was pretty limited. I think that it was better than sitting there and being like, well,
Better
I
than
guess
nothing.
We'll just let them block the passage from Egypt, and
We're just dropping aid from the sky.
Yeah,
That didn't seem to
yeah,
work
that
all
was
that
fun.
well.
I mean, that was pretty funny. You gotta
It
admit
was
that.
funny.
As you know, out of all the people that have died in this conflict, those were the funniest ones. Don't laugh. So what? They're not doing daytime fighting, and they're allowing border crossings of aid trucks during the day, and then they're doing nighttime fighting, which is kind of cheap. That's dirty pool, right? They're like, we're only going to fight you at night. We're totally civilized. Like, there was a time in human history where they were like, well, you don't attack at night. Mithridates had an amazing attack on the Romans because he dared to fight under a full moon. Anytime
Your
I see
dog?
not my dog Mithridates, the general, Mithridates the Sixth, Eupator, king of Pontus. Anytime there's a really bright full moon, I always think it's a moon like this when Mithridates had the upper hand on some Roman general. I should.
Israel's also saying they've found in our blocking or eliminating a bunch of tunnels in Rafah. They're being very coy about, like, they're not exactly saying that they were able to smuggle stuff in from Egypt into Gaza through these tunnels. I think they don't want to piss Egypt off too much. But they're saying
all of a sudden they give a fuck about that. Okay.
Right.
You know what? We weren't doing a show when they did that rescue operation. Oh no, we did, right? Did we just do a show? And then we're like, I don't trust these numbers that they're saying about the people die. That was an amazing rescue, especially when you saw the body cam footage of it. Like,
yeah, that was ballsy as fuck.
Yeah. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. Who was hiding those hostages, Alan? Al Jazeera journalist. I didn't want to come on here and say anything like that, but turns out maybe they've got a point to be like, fuck this particular news station. And, maybe they're right to be a little concerned about, you know what, I'm not going to co-sign shit for Israel, but I'm just saying, like, things like that definitely add credence to a lot of their positions.
That's problematic. Yes.
Yeah. And it was in a civilian area, and it was just everything else that it's like, look, man, like, you don't get civilians killed when you don't hide people in civilian areas like that. And it doesn't justify trying to eliminate Hamas, because I think we still agree that's a fool's errand, and you're going to create more future people to be mad at you, whether they are Hamas or whatever succeeds there. But
whatever comes next.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're not going to solve that in this episode. Let's do a little on Ukraine. I played this. That was that bombshell where Lex said he's going to interview Zelensky and Putin. This is the most rational Lindsey Graham take I've ever heard, and I can't believe we're playing it on the show. Let me get this loaded up to play.
Ladybugs himself.
Mr. Ladybug.
The weapons flowing. What did Trump do to get the weapons flowing? He created a loan system. They're sitting on $10 to $12 trillion of critical minerals.
Ukraine is.
In Ukraine, they could be the richest country in all of Europe. I don't want to give that money and those assets to Putin to share with China. If we help Ukraine now, they can become the best business partner we ever dreamed of. That $10 to $12 trillion of critical mineral assets could be used by Ukraine and the West, not given to Putin and China. This is a very big deal how Ukraine ends. Let's help them win a war we can't afford to lose. Let's find a solution to this war, but they're sitting on a gold mine to give Putin $10 or $12 trillion of critical minerals that he will share with China is ridiculous.
And that's why we need to nuke the Kremlin.
That's something.
I mean, I never thought I'd agree with Lindsey Graham, but he's not wrong. I mean, we have an opportunity to be France in the Revolutionary War here.
Oh, I'm so happy you read that Lafayette book. Listeners, if you haven't read Hero of Two Worlds, you know what?
It's a great read. We'll talk about it Thursday.
Yeah, we'll talk about it Thursday. I think I hate this guy. Oh, God, I hate this guy so much. So they're talking about bird flu finally. I think you heard me talking about it on here like 4 months ago, and you're like, where did you hear about this? I was like, told you, you're going to hear about it in a couple months once the conspiracy.
And I think we brought it up a couple times in the headline show as well. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. But I was early on it.
You were.
Deserve credit. I don't like this guy because he's always like breaking news.
Breaking explosive diarrhea. No, news. Sorry, I mean news. Okay, you know this little bird flu thing? You know, the thing I've been predicting for like 2 years. They were going to try and turn into the next pandemic. Oh, by the way, they're saying cows are dying all over the United States now from it too. So
you have the Dark Knight Rises Joker music where it's just the one.
Is that what it is?
They're prepping us. Guess where it came from? No, guess. You guessed it. It came from a lab. A lot of you probably said Chinese lab. Nope, this one's ours. This one was USA. But yeah, right on. You will not see an article about this, by the way, in MSM. New study indicates that the H5N1 viral bird flu outbreak was likely caused by lab.
Well, I think times like this is important to point out that his source is, Natasha's back from youth group, the peoplesvoice.tv. And they were also the fact check, which is not a.
Yeah, I'm guessing they're associated with Alex Jones in some way.
This guy is always wrong, but he's always entertaining.
Lab leaks from a poultry lab in Athens, Georgia. This study was done by the McCullough Foundation. Here's a copy of the study, just so y'all know it's. We also have a little map they did showing kind of how it's been jumping around, point of origin. Whoops, they did it again. Maybe we should shut these labs down.
More editorializing, but
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
That's the globalists trying to kill us all. You know, with the next.
This doesn't have anything to do with Ukraine. Why did I put this under Ukraine?
Don't know.
I'm sorry. Look at this. I got anti-war Dave DeCamp here. Back to Ukraine. Okay. back to our previously scheduled Ukraine topic. What's my note say? This is Dave DeCamp talking about Ukraine strikes into Russia. And I'm highlighting. So this is definitely week and a half old news, but I do like to highlight the sources that he uses when he talks about like, it's totally rational to have my opinion on this. It's like, well, is that here.
Directly supporting missile strikes on Russian territory. And there's been no official confirmation from Russia about the strikes from what I've seen, just perusing Russian media as far as I do, which isn't, I don't go too deep into it. I usually just check the English language stuff like TASS and RT and RIA and a few other like of those news agencies.
So he's like, look, man, like I stay informed. I try to double check what Russia's telling us is the truth about these strikes into Russia.
Using RT
and TASS, yeah. So.
RT, the Al Jazeera of Russia.
Yeah, exactly. Well, don't talk about Al Jazeera like that. That's not fair, okay? Al Jazeera doesn't deserve that.
Okay, fine.
Man, this is old. This is about putting weapons near. Let's see how. That you know what, I'm sure this lab.
See if it aged well.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a week and a half old, but I haven't heard anybody talking about it since then. Don't you remember when last we talked? They were making a big deal about how
TASS and RT.
We had put we had given Ukraine weapons and I guess intelligence to use the weapons, right?
Right, and allowed them to attack beyond
into
Russia's
Russia.
border. Yes.
And in response to that, Putin had that press conference where he's like, well, we're basically going to nuke the West if you guys keep doing this. It's like, yeah, are you? Because you keep saying that. So a week and a half went by and we all forgot about it. I went to an alcohol convention. That's my excuse, and got married. Probably should have led with married.
And RIA and a few other like of those news agencies, I haven't seen them mention it. But Putin issued a fresh warning to the U.S. and other NATO countries about the use of their weapons on Russian territory. This was on Wednesday. He said, quote, if someone thinks it is possible to supply such weapons to a war zone to attack our territory and create problems for us, why don't we have the right to supply weapons of the same class to regions of the world where there will be strikes on sensitive facilities of those Western countries? That is, the response can be asymmetric. We will think about it, end quote. So he's saying they could potentially arm people that could hit Western countries as a response.
He asked why they can't do that. Because you started the fucking war invading your neighbor that didn't fucking do anything to you, that you've been fighting with since 2014. And if they've been, oh, well, we got to stop them because they're killing all their people in Eastern Ukraine. They're killing the people that have sided with you, and we're fighting against them in Eastern Ukraine. Like, that is a horrible distillation of it, but that's still true.
That's essentially true. Yes.
And so, like, yeah. So, like, you don't get to be like, well, they hit me again after I started a fight with them. It's like, yes. So what? You don't get to be like, well, I guess what's the difference between us doing that? By the way, something. I had told you about, remember, you heard it here first about you didn't even know about it. Remember I told you how they were going to have a warship and submarines going down to Cuba?
Oh, yeah.
Really? And then a couple days later, they were showing up. And did you hear about the submarine going back has been shedding its like
its soundproof barrier or whatever? Yeah, it
doesn't even have a Caterpillar drive, Alan. Engage Caterpillar drive.
That Russian military stuff, man. That's good shit.
Yep. Do you think people hunt for the Red October references in 2024? Probably not. Right?
I mean, Taylor gets
Old heads do. Here we're talking about IVF. What'd you say?
I said Bob probably gets it.
Bob gets it. Yeah. Yes. Shout out to Bob, man. Keep it together, dude. You got some shit going on, but you'll get through it, man. It's life.
Yeah.
Keep your head up. You seem like you're taking it in stride. I made the exact decisions you made today. That's the way to handle it, and then move forward, man. This is a Trump advisor calling to restrict access to IVF. I think I put this in the sheet prior to the Baptists deciding that
convention.
Yeah, the Baptist convention was like, we as Baptists think that people shouldn't use IVF, but they like worded it very carefully. Do you have any thoughts on that before I play this, or maybe afterwards?
It's just so weird because it's like, if you want to be pro family, pro having children, pro procreation, and then to be anti IVF, it's just bizarre to me. It makes no sense.
Yeah. Yep. And it was, well, you shouldn't be making so many embryos. It's like, okay, well, you have to in order for these people to
for this to work. Yes.
The IVF industry, it feeds this cultural entitlement that we have to godlike powers over life and death. And that's that.
These fucking entitled people that can't make kids on their own, these entitled fucks that go down and spend, I don't know, is it like $100,000?
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
These entitled pricks, these entitled barren families. Yeah, I don't want to play anymore. That pisses me.
I mean, and you spend all that money.
Word. She could have used a different word, right?
She could have. And you spend all that money, and there's no guarantee it's even going to work.
Yeah.
Well, these are people that are committed to trying to have a family. Like they
entitled fucks. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fuck.
All right, let's do a little election stuff. Here's a clip of Biden, Hunter, rich kids. I don't know that I have anything. I might have something in the second half. I don't think I have anything about Biden's son. I figured it was like so much of a big news story of last week that like
people are probably saturated.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't mean to avoid it, but yeah, I mean, Hunter.
I mean, we talked about it. I think we talked about it on the headline show.
No, it hadn't. The decision
hadn't dropped yet. Okay.
Yeah. But it's something that people estimate like 20 million people lie about a year. So it's like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm fine with it. Perhaps if you're the son of a president, you shouldn't write a book about being a crackhead and also buy a gun where you lie about your drug abuse. I mean, I think he deserves it. I think it's fine. Like my response when the decision came out was fucking good. Like good. Like it would have kind of sucked if I think that's a stupid law. I think it would have sucked if he wasn't held accountable to being a crackhead and lying about it. I would like to see that law fucking finally go away. But
I also think it's really ironic that's the law that got him.
that they got it. Well, yeah,
because I mean, for the right to like be like, yeah, he's a fucking felon, and then they're like, oh, but it's about a thing I hate about gun laws.
yes,
Like,
yes,
that's-
100%, 100%. He's like, well, I don't certainly do that at all.
Right.
This is Delta 8. It's not marijuana. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Hunter Rich Kids is my highlight on this.
Okay.
Don't really know what this is.
Became an American citizen January 31st, 2024. I love this country for a lot of different reasons. One of them is Americans are really beautifully sweet and naive. Like, people here are still shocked that Hunter Biden was a crackhead. And I'm like, wow, to be that innocent. It's like you guys have never met a rich man's son before. There's always the one that tries to overachieve, and then there's the other one who is always a crackhead. Some of the best weed I have ever smoked, I purchased from the direct relative of a government official of Canada. I grew up in the capital of Canada. It's like, you guys have never been around rich guys' kids before. They're always like this. Oh, guess what? He does art. Yeah, they always have an art show. That's how you know they've gotten sober for a bit. It's just sweet that they didn't know that. Became an American citizen January 3rd.
Nailed it, right?
It's
Fucking
very
nailed it.
funny,
Yeah.
but also very true.
Right. I mean, it's a plague of not. I mean, what is it a combination of? Like trying to live up to your parents,
lack of
and also not having-
consequences, and
No, I
lack of
talked over you. Lack
consequences.
of consequences. Yes.
Lack of consequences, the ability to access whatever you need to access, and then often a fear or a feeling of inadequacy. You know, it's like all of those things rolled together.
Yep.
It happens. Yes.
Yeah, and sometimes you express it differently. Here's Taylor Swift. This kind of didn't gain very much traction. I thought this was weird and oddly staged, but it was something I expected her to do eventually. Taylor Swift finally released the video that we were like, when is she going to come out and just plug Biden or whatever, right?
Against Trump.
I don't care if they write that. I'm sad that I didn't 2 years ago, but I can't change that. First of all, these aren't your dad's celebrities and these aren't your dad's Republicans.
Imagine if we came to you and said, hey, we've got this idea that we could halve the number of people that come to you next week.
I'm saying right now that this is something that I know is right, and you guys, I need to be on the right side of history. And if he doesn't win, then at least I tried.
I feel like that phrase lost its value. The whole "be on the right side of history." I feel like it used to carry more weight.
Yeah, perhaps it's been a little bit cheapened.
He is.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No, I can definitely see that. Yeah.
She's talking about Marsha Blackburn too, which fucking just we're lucky she's not a more effective culture warrior. I hope Trump picks her as vice president. Too many syllables though.
Big deal. She votes against fair pay for women. She votes against the reauthorization of the Violence Against Women Act, which is just basically protecting us from domestic abuse and stalking. She thinks that if you're a gay couple, or even if you look like a gay couple, you should be allowed to be kicked out of a restaurant. It's really basic human rights, and it's right and wrong at this point. And I can't see another commercial and see her disguising these policies behind the words Tennessee Christian values. Those aren't Tennessee Christian values. I live in Tennessee. I am Christian. That's not what we stand for. I need to do this. I need you to I need you to forgive me for doing it, because I'm doing it. Yeah.
Aw, Taylor's dad gave her a hug.
Oh, how sweet.
Isn't that something?
It's funny. His argument was like, you're going to lose 50% of your audience. I don't think she is, first of all. But
right.
I mean, even, people like Eminem have come out and said, look, if that's going to lose me audience, fuck it. I don't care.
Do you think Eminem is relevant? So I was listening to the Philosophize This podcast, that newest one about Mark Fisher. And he was like, he was talking about, what did you listen to it?
Not yet. No.
Fuck. What's he called? Like the post-capitalist, postmodern. He had a word for modern.
I listened to the other one you suggested, but
I know he has a word for what he calls like our modern. There's like, we feel like we don't have a history or we're almost feel timeless. I'm doing a bad job at it. I'm not going to continue to try. But as a reference, he's like, Eminem just dropped a new single, which basically uses Abracadabra from Steve Miller Band as its. I'm like, what are you talking about? Nobody knows about that song. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about what Eminem's doing.
I'm talking about Eminem from like 2016. I think.
Yeah. I don't think nobody cared about that either. To your point, though, right?
8 years ago. Yeah.
To your point, right?
Yeah.
Okay, here's Trump. This is about the black vote. I don't think I have any clips from where he went to that black church in Detroit. So let's just talk about that. Did you see that?
Black church? No. I
Oh
don't think I
man.
did.
So Trump went to a black church in Detroit over the weekend.
Okay. No, I missed that.
I tried to find a clip of it. I have two favorite parts. One is the most obvious part that everybody was talking about. It was like a historically black church. And then when you pan to the audience, it's a bunch of white dudes. There's like, it looks like you're watching like a Colorado Rockies game. Right? You're just like, wow.
Utah Jazz.
Yeah. And but my favorite part was I think the pastor's name was Lorenzo, and he's like, and I love Lorenzo. Lorenzo, where's Lorenzo? Lorenzo's right next to him. He's just, I don't know this black man. I've never seen him a day before in my life. Like, guy that personally invited me to this place. But yeah, it was just hilarious that he went to it. And and he tried to say like 9,000 people were there. There was maybe 200, which that doesn't matter, but it's enough.
Yeah, that tracks for him though.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is something about the black vote, and this is Crockett. I think this is the lady that said, "Don't come for me."
It's more racism, because essentially what you're saying is that black people, y'all know all about going to jail. To be clear, this guy has 34 felonies. I've never been arrested for a traffic ticket. I do want to be clear that there are black folk that haven't actually experienced jail. I have been in jail, obviously, as a former criminal defense attorney. But I do want to be clear that, as Kendrick Lamar says, they are not like us. He is not like us. So for my clients, I've never had one that had this many charges pending against them. But I've never had anybody come close to him and somehow still be walking free pre-trial. That's not how we get treated when we end up getting locked up. It's more racist.
Oh, you mean you don't get like a 30-minute Zoom call from your probation officer like that?
Talking about that till the second half, Al. And we're talking about that later.
I gotta say, I really like her. She came out of nowhere for me with that whole thing with her. And
she'd been bubbling up for a while. I think we've even played 1 or 2 clips of her in the past. But yeah, I know
she's kicking ass and taking names.
I mean, she had a moment. She took it. That's opportunity and timing, right? And preparedness, opportunity, and timing. Disparities between Trump's conviction and real people. Amber sent this in. I made a note for myself. Maybe go to half with this. Well, I didn't.
I had a chance to go visit a church in my neighborhood on Sunday. It was Men's Day. And of course, the topic before and after service for some of them was Mr. Trump's conviction. And they approached me because they know I'm an attorney, and they were trying to sort through the meaning of the conviction. And so one of them asked me, so Donald Trump was convicted on criminal charges? I said, yes. And he still gets to run for president? And I said, yes. If he wins, he can take office? I said, looks like it. And he paused a second. He said, wow, I got convicted for some misdemeanors, and I couldn't even get any kind of job. Not fast food, not a convenience store, not landscaping, but he can still be president? And I said, yes, sir. Another man approached me as well after overhearing part of the conversation. He said, I got arrested. I didn't even get convicted, but I got fired immediately. And then a third gentleman raised this point. He said, when I got out, I couldn't vote or hold office as long as I was on probation. But Trump can go straight to the White House. And I said, yes, sir, I think that may be right. And I told him too, and I said, don't forget, you got a jury finding of sexual assault against him as well. What kind of job could you get if you had something like that on your record? And they all paused, and I think they were just deeply disturbed by the disparity that they saw between their lives and the life that Mr. Trump is leading.
Isn't that something?
I don't think we're playing anything. I'll speak for both of us. You can tell me if I'm wrong. We try not to be too earnest on this show. I don't think we try to present things and be like, and that's why, listener, you should vote this way. Like, I don't think there's anything in there that's like anything more than just food for thought. But I mean, just those are things we all know. But when you hear it expressed that way, especially with his demeanor, it was just I thought that was probably the best way I've heard that expressed.
I agree. I agree. And again, this is the rich kid not experiencing consequences. It's the same thing.
It really is. Yeah, it really is. It's like, oh, so he doesn't do drugs. It's like, well,
Yeah, he does other things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is about misinformation and disinformation. At least that's what it says. I think this is the clip where he says, "No, let's just see. Let's see."
Oh, is this about the water bottles?
Might be.
By the way, isn't that breeze nice? Do you feel the breeze? Because I don't want anybody going on me. We need every voter. I don't care about you. I just want your vote. I don't care.
It is.
I don't know why I put misinformation and disinformation, but yeah, I don't care about you. I just want your vote. That's him at a rally. This probably could have gone in the Trump cult section of the show in the second half, but oh wait, no, this goes on. Wait, this goes on. This goes on.
See, now the press will take that and they'll say he said a horrible thing. And I hope the military revolts at the voting booth and just says, we're not going to take it. They can say anything. They're a party of misinformation, disinformation. By the way,
so I guess they took that out of context, right? He hopes the military. He probably means he hopes the military votes for him, but it certainly sounded like he said he hopes the military.
Pretty charitable.
Yeah.
So the reason this happened was because at a previous rally there were
People that passed out.
Yeah, there were attendees who passed out because of the heat. And so he was like, "Isn't this breeze nice?" Making sure everybody has water and stuff like that. And then he says, "I don't care about you. I just care about your vote," which is like such an honest thing to say. But then he immediately walks it back. He's like, "Clearly, the media is going to twist that to it."
Why'd you say it then?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty hard to say it and then be like, see, of course they'll say I said that out of context. It's
Right.
like, no, you're fixing it. I speak before I talk. I know what it's like. That's why I don't want to run for office. I'm scared. I'm going to say something dumb. He went on and said some more bullshit. This is more some misinformation. This is the elections section. The rest is sort of like flubs and things from rallies.
Okay.
So this is at Turning Point USA event.
you got to watch your vote because they destroy votes. They terminate your vote. They do all sorts of things. Watch your vote. You can.
That's not true. That is not a thing. So just lying to people, like, I mean, shocker, guys, tune into None Taken. You heard it here first. Trump lies about bullshit at his rallies, but like, just saying they destroy your vote, they terminate your vote. It's just.
Also, how are you supposed to watch your vote? Do you just like, is it like Chipotle, or do you like watch them like say that's not enough chicken? Like, what is it? I don't. How do you? I don't.
That's not enough guac. Here's Marjorie Three Toes in Vegas. By the way, she seems like she should spend more time in Vegas. She looks like not like Vegas Strip hot, but like she's like downtown Vegas.
She's
pretty.
in her environment. Yes.
She's downtown Vegas pretty.
And you think gas prices are high now? Just wait until you're forced to drive an electric vehicle.
Huh?
What?
That's something.
I can't wait to see what gas prices are when I'm forced to drive an electric vehicle. Also, gas prices are not high right now.
No, they're way lower.
And it's because Biden saw what the Saudis were up to and said, I'll one up that and I'll release the, what'd you say? The gas reserves. And it was a particular reserve that Congress already said they had to get rid of because it was unsafe to store that much gas. And it's like, fine, we're going into the summer. The Saudis are going to try to fuck up this election by raising gas prices and or causing high gas prices. I know I shouldn't say things.
I literally paid $1 less at the pump like yesterday than I did like a month ago. It's crazy.
$2.95 out here right now. Yeah. As long as it's under $3 out here, everybody's happy. Okay, here's a polling update that buzzed. Like I said, this is the election segment. We're still in the first half. And we'll do a wackadoo and we'll go to lunch.
Okay.
Buzz Burbank has, this is about a minute. This whole clip is like a minute and a half, but I think I'll stop it a little early. So he's talking about a Ipsos poll. And this is from today. So this is, I think, like yesterday or as of this morning.
Voters, 33% say they're less likely to vote for Trump because of conviction. 17% say they're more likely to vote for him because of the conviction. That's the sort of bounce back from from sociopathic Republicans. Now, among independent voters, and this is even more significant, I think. Again, 33%, a third of independents less likely to vote for Trump because of the conviction.
Wow.
Only 12% of independents say they're more likely to vote for Trump because of the conviction. And among Trump voters, just the Trump voters, 22% say they're less likely to vote for him now, with only 12% saying they're more likely.
Oh, that's exciting.
Those are significant numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had some foreshadowing of that before, where people were asked, what if he's convicted, and would that change? But yeah, I think these numbers are definitely even bigger than we could have expected, for sure.
Yeah. I don't expect it. Well, I don't know. I don't know what to make out of it. Like, I mean, when I hear that 22% of Trump voters are turned off by it, my first thought is that's like 15% of the population, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it? Because it is not. It's like 25.
Probably less than.
You always go less when I think it might be low already.
I think it might be like 10 or 12.
It is unrelated to anything, but your shingles looks like it's clearing up in many ways. You feeling better?
Is it?
Yeah.
It does feel a little bit better. I think that my less stress lifestyle is
Oh yeah, there you go. Fucking, I worry about you more than you do. I'm like, I hope he's doing fine with this.
I'm good, man. I am good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Living lighthearted and fancy food.
Others lock up your daughters.
Alan is on the town. All right. Thrash sends in clips all the time of people like this dumbass and goes like, I think one time he was like, it should be painful to be this dumb, And it's like, not only is it not painful, but like, I mean, our likes, it's only got 6,000 likes.
Ignorance is bliss, man.
Yeah, 100%. Wait till you hear that. Oh, hold on. I closed the sharing window down. Sharing window is open, Alan.
Ooh.
People need to start studying words, even just looking at money. Look at a bank, right? What is a bank? What is also a bank? A river bank. What does the river bank do? It controls the flow. The flow of what? Flow of the current, the currency. If it's controlling the currency, it's also controlling the what? The flow. The flow of what? The cash flow. So what? Money moves like water. So if I understand where the water is going to go, I just have to position myself where the cash flow is going to be next, and I will get wet. Welcome to the big leagues, motherfuckers.
That's fucking retarded.
We don't say that anymore, Thrash. Stop it. We say our word.
Yeah, we don't do that anymore.
Say that word. Jesus.
If you say flow like 7 times in a 90
And you
second
keep saying
video,
what in between everything.
Yeah,
It's
mimetic. Yes.
Yep. All right. Well, let's go to half of the question.
Okay.
This is a sincere question. It occurred to me in the middle of the day. I was like, what the fuck ever happened to Build Back Better? I was like, don't you remember when people were like, it's the globalists and everybody's saying Build Back Better all around the globe. It's them trying to take over. And turns out it was just kind of it was a catchphrase during, the worst thing that ever happened to all of us
in our entire lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah. It did just kind of fall off a cliff there. I guess it wasn't a useful.
So was it really just as benign as the best interpretation of it was, or did they get backed off because Alex Jones warned us? That's how he always wins. He's like, they stopped it. It's because I warned
them. Me.
Yep.
All
right, we'll go to lunch. I'll see you on the other side. Oh, wait, I got to do the button now.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking damn it. Okay, let me pad for a second. Let me see what number it gets to so that I know when to actually talk to.
Okay.
La. We're going to have
This is the B-side of our platter, sports fans. And I'm singing just for you, covered in sequins.
In the canyons of your mind, I will wander through your brain to the ventricles of your heart, my dear. I'm in love with you again. across the mountains of your choice. I will stick a Union Jack to the forest of your cheek, through the holes in your string bag.
And we're back.
Man, I got a real dilemma here.
What's that?
I can keep drinking boxed wine out of my Xi Jinping Winnie the Pooh mug. I meant to mention that earlier. One of the vendors at the alcohol convention was there was a dude. It was the best display, best little venue. Booth. That was the word. Best booth of the whole place. They made stuff out of local honey, and they had beehives as their like podium and like desk.
Oh, cool.
With bees in it. And then they had honey on display, honeycombs and spoons, and you could just go scoop out of the honeycomb and eat it. And you'd like taste the honey and sort of chew on the wax a little bit. And I would spit that out. I'm not eating a bunch of beeswax, but it kind of tasted like, remember those candy lips you would get, and then you could taste like cherry or whatever. Yeah. But they had the drinks they made. I mean, places were making like cocktail drinks and just giving you those to walk around. Dude, it was fucking MC Hammer time, dude. Like it was. But
I don't want to go to one of these conventions, dude.
Yeah. Next year we'll come up. We'll get you a pass if you want to come out, dude. If you want to come out, we're going. Oh yeah, we're gonna go back next year.
San Diego or New York?
New York.
Okay.
You know what? Come on down to San Diego in October. It's a good excuse to come down to October. Damn it. Like me on the second day of the event. It's a good excuse to come down to San Diego in October, Alan.
Yeah.
Listeners, let's do a fucking meetup at the alcohol.
Hell yeah.
At the San Diego Spirits Festival.
Dude.
Okay, we're doing this. 100%.
Okay. All right. Let's do it.
That would be so badass.
That would be awesome.
Well, my dilemma is keep drinking wine out of my little Winnie the Pooh glass, Xi Jinping glass, or open a double IPA. And I'm scared of this.
Oh, what's the ABV there?
It's like 10. I don't 8.2. That ain't nothing.
Eight, that's you're fine.
Okay, got to be honest. I think the wine tastes better though. We're coming back from half. From half. I have a search query for you.
Okay.
I want you can just highlight what I have quoted there.
Okay.
Go ahead and highlight Freedom 20 water. Listeners at home, open up your Amazon. Can you open Amazon? Oh, you should probably just do it on your phone. It's probably easier, right?
I'm doing it on the laptop. It's fine.
Okay. And search on Amazon for Freedom 20 water.
Okay.
Tell me what you find.
Unapologetic water, purified. Click. Purified Freedom water, reverse osmosis water bottles, 12-pack. Speak your thirst. $19.
$19. I probably should have saved that for the punchline. So Freedom water, $20 for 12 of them, right?
What the hell?
I got a clip for you.
Okay.
Oh, let me start it over. God, man, I had all the time in the world to get this ready, and I still.
Oh, you got to present it.
I know I have to present it, Alan. What do you think I'm saying?
Okay. Tired of more.
Natasha doesn't henpeck me as much as you do.
Your choice of water could make a statement. What if it could symbolize your commitment to values like freedom, individuality, and self-reliance?
The audio sounds weird because this is a commercial or a segment aired live at the Turning Point USA event over the weekend. When you think
Okay.
Turning Point USA, think tiny face Charlie Kirk.
Freedom to owe water isn't just about what's inside the bottle. It's about the message it sends with every sip. With labels like, this water isn't free, but your speech is. It's not just refreshing. It's rebellious. And it's
She can't even say it without mocking it. Like that was supposed to be a pitch. She's like with phrases like this water isn't free, but your speech is. It's like, yeah, that I would say it with that tone to talk about how stupid your fucking water is. I have to play this clip at some point.
Oh my God, is water racist?
If I had to guess which political side of the spectrum was going to make the fucking meme come true where the guy says,
oh my God, is water racist?
I would have not guessed that it was the right. But here they are selling water and calling it freedom water.
unapologetic to drink this in public. Can you freaking believe it?
Can you imagine how bold you must be to drink this in public? Like, you know, I'm not one of those sissies out here drinking Fiji water.
That's where we are. It's a reminder that even the most ordinary acts, like taking a sip of water, can be infused with meaning and purpose by choosing.
Oh, so it's not infused with like cucumber or strawberry or like
Meaning and purpose.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like thoughts and prayers, really.
To drink Freedom 2.0, you're not just choosing a brand, you're choosing to stand up for what you believe in. Try Freedom 2.0 and tag me in your Instagram story for a repost. Hold on, drink break.
You got preachers up here talking about.
This page always does like two memes in one. I don't trust what this next one's going to be, but one more time.
Oh my God, is water racist?
I mean, that's from Tracy Ullman skip from like 15 years ago. And, yeah.
But this is what Trump has created, right? The monetization of everything. The Trump University, Trump Stakes, Trump like this is just continuation from what he began.
Yeah,
I mean,
and just like all of those ventures you described, this is bound to not be
bound to fail.
And yes, but in the meantime, somebody's going to make a grift off of it, right?
Yep.
Like there is someone that's going to position themselves to make sure that they make money off of all the people that invested in it. And they, you know what I mean?
Just like Truth Social, just like Alex Jones selling colloidal silver.
Truth, essential.
It's all the same shit.
Sorry.
Come.
Her cat was named Vagina. Come! Guess what? Come!
I'm told people like this. I feel like I'm being indulgent.
That's just calm.
Yeah, we're having a good time.
Just
Continue to create calm.
I do too.
She's inspiring.
Continue to create calm.
That's what I did. Oh, nope. Tasha was very happy that I told her that was in the pre-show. Guys, sign up for the Patreon, unless you're friends or family.
It's worth it.
Everyone else.
It's a good time over there.
Fuck. Okay. That paid off way better than I thought. I liked your thoughts and prayers joke. Okay. Ronnie Jackson. If I say that name, does that mean anything to you? What if I say Dr. Ronnie Jackson?
Ronnie Jackson. That doesn't sound familiar.
Dr. Ronnie Jackson was the guy that was running the pill mill out of the White House, giving out baggies.
Oh, okay.
And downers and
right.
all different kinds of reds and blues and salt shaker full of half a dozen amyls. I'm just trying to do my best to remember the quarter ounce of grass, half sheet of blotter acid. We were somewhere around Barstow on the edge of the desert.
Fear and loathing.
So yeah, Ronnie Jackson, Dr. Ronnie Jackson was the guy running the pill mill out of the White House pharmacy, giving everybody
amphetamines and
a
whatever.
vigil to stay up and sleepy times to go to bed, which completely understandable. Got to write a prescription for it. They weren't. That's where it's shady. That's where it's like bizarre.
They just handed out in baggies.
Like, hey, I've had friends too. I've had friends that were doctors that will go nameless.
Yes.
If they were in that guy's position, would not do that because eventually it would come out and they would care about their good name being besmirched like that.
Or losing their license. There's also
for a number of reasons. Yes, that's what I meant by name besmirched. Yes, you're right. There was a specific way I intended that to come across. And that was yes, but nothing happens. And Ronnie Jackson was gonna be Surgeon General, and somebody revoked his name, and it's just Bob Seska and my theory that the whole cleanest bill of health I've ever seen. Ronnie Jackson said I'd live to 200 if I didn't eat so much fast food. Like all of that was his trade-off for him nominating him, which He also took an excellent cognitive test. Don't
Man,
even get me
person,
started
woman,
on
camera.
doing the cognitive test. I'm just saying he didn't do. So you know how much Trump always loves talking about person, woman, camera, TV, person,
Yes.
woman, man, camera, TV, the cognitive test. The thing that you don't brag about because normal people that don't need to take cognitive tests don't have to take cognitive tests. So if you're talking about how you passed yours, that means that it was in question. Yes,
Right.
that thing. Yes.
It shouldn't be a problem to begin
No,
with.
right. You don't brag. You certainly don't fucking bring it up because
Right.
it's supposed to not be good. Okay. Have I made my point there?
Yes. Yes.
All right. So he's always bringing that shit up and he's bringing it up again. And then in the context of that, remember, pop quiz. What's his name? Dr.
Ronnie Jackson.
Ronnie
Johnson.
Jackson. Ronnie Jackson.
Jackson. Right.
I think you should take a cognitive test like I did. I took a cognitive test and I aced it. Dr. Ronnie Johnson.
What?
Does everyone know Ronnie Johnson, congressman from Texas? He was the White House doctor.
Huh?
And he said I was the healthiest president he feels in history. So I liked him very much immediately. In fact, he said if I
immediately. That actually, I've heard this once already. That part was not highlighted.
much immediately. In fact, he said if I didn't eat junk food, I would live to 200. That's
Huh? Let's get some Cokes in here.
Hey, bring some Cokes in, please. I did such a good job.
All right, I'm done. So the guy, in the context of him saying that Biden needs a cognitive test and I did such a great job on mine, misnames. He did
his
it
doctor.
twice in that clip. If in the whole clip, later on he does it a third time.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Again, like I do not have anything good to say about Joe Biden.
Right.
I'm just saying it's not fair to be like, well, at least one of them's got their brain in order. Like,
Yeah. No, they're both on the downside for
Yeah.
sure.
so
of
I'm
mental
gonna go with
clarity.
the one that when he fucks up, probably isn't gonna make it impossible for us to have a normal. The intended. Okay, how do I say this right? Because we are far.
Start a nuclear war with.
No, okay. What I'm trying to say is I'm trying to act like if we get Joe Biden in there, at least we'll have what our founding fathers intended. And we're so far from that anyways. But I don't hold Joe Biden responsible for that. George Bush, most of the presidents of the 20th century. I'm good there. Andrew Jackson. There
you go. That's a good one. You can start. Yeah. Yeah.
Like Joe Biden, if he doesn't win this election, is gonna feel bad, I guess. Like not feel bad. He'll feel bad that he lost.
Yeah.
And I think because I do not like saying good things about him. I do think that in his mind, he thinks that he would be of the two the better option for the country to preserve the
Yeah, I think he
constitutional
thinks that
republic
too.
that we have. So he would, in that manner, in that regard, would feel bad for the country when he gets on the helicopter and flies away and lives the rest of his, probably 2.5 years, as a free man with nothing happening to him. If Trump loses, he's shitting his fucking diapers because he knows he'll have to face prison time because he was a criminal while he was in office and he's been a scumbag his entire life. So one side of the ledger is
a little heavier than
context,
the
I'll
other.
vote for Joe Biden.
Yeah.
In only that context.
Right.
That would have been a good one to not have my face in a tiny little square when we isolate that and make it do, our videos look like such shit because I just don't take the time to go like this before I deliver a rant. Like imagine that's how we do socials. And I'm not old enough to be that bad at that. It's my ADHD. I forget about those things.
There's a lot going on.
I got a screen open.
Yeah.
I'm thinking and
If
talking.
we had a producer, it would be easier. We're doing this,
Should we get a producer?
We've talked about it before.
Oh yeah. Might be time.
I mean,
all right.
I'm here for it.
Okay. I got so I didn't have a clip for it. Now was when I was going to talk about where's Lorenzo. That's still embarrassing. Where's Lorenzo? Oh, the black guy sitting next to me. I just thought was, are you sure that's not who's the guy that had the pizza company or who's the guy he killed with COVID? Like he just get them all confused, right?
Herman Cain.
Yeah. Because unlike Nikki Haley,
I had black friends growing up.
I don't think he did.
I don't think he did either. No.
Yeah. All right. I don't have any clips about the 30-minute probation interview, but you mentioned it and I want to talk about it. Why don't you set it up? You can be the clip.
All right. So we were curious because we knew post conviction of the felonies, that he would have to see a probation officer. And typically, the probation officer is sort of
I can talk about
a bridge for the judge. You know, they interview you, they kind of assess where you're at. You know, they talk about, you know, where you're at in life, etc. They're trying to determine, you know, are you, you know, are you,
will you express remorse for
right? Are you
what-
remorseful for what you did, etc. And so
but
then
also
they,
like your mindset, like I mean,
Right.
mine asked me a lot about who I was from who I was growing up and who my parents were and what I
sure. And they put all that together and they give that to the judge, and the judge uses that in part to establish their sentencing. And that's typically a in-person interview. It's typically, you know, not a half hour. Now we knew this was going to be different. Obviously, Trump is a public figure. He's got Secret Service. He's got all these
People
other-
were upset that he got to do it over Zoom, and I think that's bullshit to be upset over. We all should have the fortune to do that. Like, don't shit on him for something that you wish you could have. That's reasonable.
I don't have a problem with that.
I also don't have a problem with him having his lawyer there, although I tend
Most
to believe
people-
his lawyer was there to make sure that he didn't lie to his probation officer, which is something he totally would have done without one, and he would have
Right.
gotten in trouble for it.
And I actually do kind of have an issue with the lawyer being there, because that's just not something you or I would have the ability
I
to
say
do.
that in the sense of the first thing I was saying. I feel like
Okay,
I'd be
all
allowed if I paid for a fucking lawyer and he's willing to sit in the room with me. Like,
Sure.
like
But the
like,
30
just
minute
for advice, Alan, just for advice.
Yeah.
Because because the government has everything stacked against them, and you're just you. I actually think it would be fair to have the lawyer in the room with you.
Well, so I agree with
I
you.
think
It
it's
would.
fucked up that he got the exception.
I agree with you. It
It
would be.
sounds like a second tier of justice.
It does.
Hey, look, I closed the video before I said all that.
It would be fair to have your lawyer there. However, an average person just doesn't have that option. And so for him to have that option, yeah, that's a second tier of justice. How about that? Also, the fact that it was only 30 minutes long is like, what the, like, how many questions did you get in? I don't know.
Well, it probably starts with how much of my life do you already know? Let's save some fucking time here. But
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Probably run out of questions, right?
Mm,
Be like, look, I know everything about what your fucking story is. Yeah, right. So it was held to like almost like the therapy type questions of like, you know, trying to really understand his character and what his mindset is regarding the offense and all that. But I mean, even to that extent, it certainly sounds like, what more were you going to ask him? He fucking told you what he thought about it, probably in about 2 sentences with a bunch of monosyllabic sentence. Man, it's fun to make fun of someone for having bad word choices and then
you
stumble.
know, it's
through
funny. You said
elderly
you
abuse.
You said therapy, and I just had this vision of Trump at a therapist's office, like on a couch.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, you know.
Tell
what
us
hurt
about your
you?
father. Tell us
Yeah.
about your relationship with your father.
Can you imagine?
Oh, yeah. Well, my father was very strong and he was very rich, and you know, just everything except he hugged me once. You know what I mean? Like, ever
think
said
Trump
I
has
was bad. Like, you know, before my dad passed away, I was like, I feel so fortunate that I had the guidance that if I felt it, I might want to tell my dad I'm proud of him. And like, just the relief that's given me in life, it meant so much to me. I couldn't imagine being a father and not treating your son like that, you know?
Yeah.
Did I miss it? Was that not an aligned thought? And I connected?
No, it was. It was. Do you think Trump has a love language?
Yeah. Yes. Gifts.
Gifts.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. Receiving, not giving.
Oh, right. Actually, that's a good point. Unless it was money. Like, well, this has always been important. So
Right.
here's money things. Yeah. Why do you think he bought his Slovenian wife? My friend in Hoboken is from Slovenia. He's like, I don't appreciate the connection to the first lady. Probably don't need to smear my smart friend. All right. I think we're done there.
Okay.
Oh, there was an extra probation officer in the interview too, but that was just to balance it out, right?
Oh yeah, sure. You gotta have equal parts.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have a lawyer, you gotta have,
Gotta have
it
an
can't be
extra,
two on one.
It was like his boss, actually, from what I understand. All right, let's play a clip from the cult. We haven't played a clip in a while. It's a fucking cult, and we know it. And clips like this make it just completely apparent.
Thank God we're here in Sunset Park to worship and bring back the greatest president we've ever known in our generation.
And he said worship, right?
He said worship.
Yeah.
Unironically.
It's weird.
that's fucking weird.
Yeah.
To worship. I mean, I guess that's like one of those sentences where the comma could be like useful. Like maybe, we're here to worship.
Yeah.
Comma
Like, can we see
and-
the transcription of this? Yeah.
Yeah. Punctuation matters, people.
Here's people at one of his rallies, people being interviewed, probably like the Good Liars, one of those type of guys.
Okay.
Random man on the street at one of his rallies.
What don't you understand? Russia is with us. They're with Trump.
Russia is with us?
Russia is with Trump.
This guy's not Good Liars. It's Adam Mockler. He deserves to get credit.
Russia
is with us. He's with Trump.
Okay.
So it's just can we clarify the us part?
Russia's not with the USA. One of their main goals is to destabilize.
Putin is with Trump. I guarantee it.
That's not the flex you think it is, though. Putin is a bad faith actor who has imperial ambitions.
Do you think this guy has any idea what you mean when you say a bad faith actor?
No.
Like, I've said that to people before. I remember saying it in like 2013, talking about North Korea, and just being like, oops, I should have used different language.
Right.
Like, I could have landed the thought if I changed my language for, I just watched him stare at me like he's a theater performer, like cheats on his wife. Like, yeah.
Trump get along with him. Trump gets along with everybody. North Korea, everybody. Everybody likes Trump.
North Korea, their best friend who flew in today. Did you see that flight path from Russia into North Korea? Conveniently went directly around the border of China. It would have like your first thought when you think that, I'm sure is the same thing Greg said in the group chat. Curvature of the Earth doesn't match the what's the name of the map that we use? The projection.
Yeah.
So like if you look at it on a globe and like use a string and put 2 points, it's usually different than what you see on the Mercator projection.
Sure.
And so like, okay, let's check that. Oops, nope. It still would have been straight through China. And they're like, we've got what do they call it? An unrestrained friendship. What do they call it? Friendship with no boundaries.
No
They're
boundaries.
like, yeah, but let's not put the president over
Let's
that
not.
country. Who knows what could happen to his plane? Like, why would you fucking work? You're saying that someone in China might shoot down the president's fucking plane?
No.
Also, it's North Korea. You know, they were meeting at some city like 40 miles north of there, right? Like the whole thing. Like nobody know. I mean, we do, but like we can't say we know, right? So
Right,
we're like,
right.
oh, we don't know where you guys were. That's so weird. I guess it was Pyongyang. I don't know shit. Like,
I don't know.
Yeah, hugging and kissing. You see him get off the airplane and just hug.
I didn't see that.
I
no.
made up the kissing.
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't put it.
Oh,
past
remember that girl? She's like, kiss each other, kiss. I love that clip. I say it all the time. Okay. Oh, this is pretty funny. Somebody, well, I'm tempted to spoil it. Let me just play the clip.
Okay.
Justice Merchan, the judge in Trump's New York criminal trial, sent a letter today stating that he is aware that an individual on Facebook who calls himself Michael Anderson commented on an unrelated post on the court's page a week ago stating, quote, "My cousin is a juror and says that Trump is getting convicted. Thank you folks for all your hard work."
Pause. This fell out of the news cycle, and I feel it was significant. Sometimes doing a show a week later actually is pretty good to be like, guys.
Hey, what about that? Yeah.
This is what happens when Trump says something funny at a rally and we forget things. Like this just happened and it fucking matters. So this got spread around by all the, mouth breathers in Magistan, not all of the people in Magistan, the mouth breathers in Magistan.
Right.
I know some of you might listen and think I was talking about you. If you're listening to this, I promise you, I'm not talking about you. You're fucking cool. It's 2 hours and 16 minutes into this shit.
If you're
But
here,
you know the guys I'm talking about. They're like the people where you're at a party and everything's agreeing, and then you're like, fuck. You really fell for QAnon? Oh, like we had so much in common.
Really?
Like, yeah. Okay. Anyway, so so this guy was saying that he did a shit post. He said, my cousin's a juror. He got a lot of attention for it. And then it turns out that's like a crime. If that's true, that's jury tampering. And he's like, whoa. Well, here's the rest. The guy is a known shit poster, and he even gets into the definition of the term just in case you don't understand. People still
The judge obviously wrote this letter in an abundance of caution, but the right-wing media, of course, jumped on this immediately, demanding a mistrial. Well, not so fast. A quick visit to the user's profile reveals that this is an obvious troll. First, the Michael Anderson account's bio calls himself a, quote, professional shit poster. The account lists its nickname as FU. His profile photo is a screenshot of a warning from Facebook that his account was restricted for bad behavior. And his only photo on his account is this one of a punk rock musician named Gigi Allen felon who died in 1993 and who was known for.
You
can
look it
Google
up.
him yourself.
Yeah.
He also made at least one other post on the
Speaking of shit posting.
the court's website stating, quote, "Thank you for all your hard work against the MAGA crazies. My cousin is a juror on Trump's criminal case, and they're going to convict him tomorrow, according to her. Thank you, New York courts." And in case all that wasn't enough, the poster just admitted he's a troll in a follow-up post, writing, "Take it easy. I'm a professional shit poster. Definition in internet culture, shit posting or trash posting is the act of using an online forum or social media."
You know, it's a very long definition. We don't have buttons around here. I feel like that's a how about that, honestly. Here.
Oh, how about that?
Did you mute yourself, dummy? I can't unmute you.
I did.
And now you're on your laptop speaker.
Oh, god damn it. Okay.
It's all right. I'm not editing this. Quickly, like a bunny. There you are.
I'm good. I'm back. We're back.
Well, share your piece or
Oh,
don't hold your peace or whatever the phrase is. Nobody had an opportunity at the wedding. Someone was like, "Hey, you didn't let me stand up and tell you why."
It's so hilarious that it's in his bio that he's a shit poster.
Nobody
and
takes the minute to look, right?
Nobody
Like,
looks. Nobody
yeah,
bothers.
cognitive bias. Like, I liked that. I was hoping that was true. Perfect. You know.
I remember in like the early days of Twitter, this used to happen a lot, where like things would go like viral on, be on CNN or whatever, and then you'd find out like that tweet was complete bullshit.
Yeah.
But people were just trying to, be on.
Oh, I fall for it every once in a while. I'll share
Yeah, it
something,
happens.
and then I'll immediately pull it. And if I'm really ashamed, I'll make a post being like, "Just in case you didn't notice that I pulled it,
Right.
here's why." Like,
This-
yeah.
yeah.
It's
It is.
like people are so afraid of making mistakes. Maybe it's because I made so many of them. I'm like, well, the phrase that people always tell you, that turns out they're not just saying it to make them feel better. You learn a lot in life through the mistakes that you make and you go through. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
It is also, so stuff like this is also a function of internet culture, right? Like,
yeah, right.
I'm thinking about that reporter that was, she was reporting outside the courthouse where that guy set himself on fire, I think, and she was like, "Oh, there's an active
there's been a
shooter."
mass shooting, active shooter.
Right.
Yeah.
Just because she thinks,
That's how
"Oh, this
things
is
work, guys.
yeah, this is my moment. I have to be
Yeah.
out in front of this,"
Yes.
and just doesn't take the time to actually process what's going on.
Yeah, no, well put. I closed the window, so I don't know where to go. This one. This is Trump and Epstein. I think that's enough.
Okay.
I got to start the window again, though.
Ever heard someone sound as guilty as Trump does in this clip?
Would you declassify the 9/11?
This is good. This was another thing that's a week and a half old, and we just forgot about it. So he did that interview after his conviction on Fox, and they were like, "Okay, would you declassify 9/11? Sure. Would you declassify JFK? Sure." And by the way, like, I thought he was going to declassify JFK, and I think his excuse is he got some of it out. But it's like, that was one of the things that people elected you for. Why are they asking you this 8 years later? Anyway,
Sure.
and then they're like, "Would you declassify the Epstein papers?" And he's like, "Sure." That's what they shared for Fox. The full video, he has a little bit of a disclaimer.
Files.
Yeah,
Would you declassify JFK files?
yeah.
Would
I
you?
did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so
This is the full clip. I think less so.
because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because
It's just, if there's one thing I want to have a caveat on, it's not the one where it was like, what, 16 of the 19 hijackers. How many were there? Something like that, right?
Saudis,
Yeah, the 19 were Saudis. Like, nah, I don't want to look into that one anymore. Maybe because I have a deal with the golf tournament. He's literally an agent of the Saudi government. Like, I don't think that's an exaggeration to say that. He's been paid an undisclosed hundreds of millions of dollars amount for his golf courses to be a part of the Live Golf tournament.
Not to mention Jared
You know-
Kushner's involvement.
Not to mention Jared Kushner's blanket $2 billion to do something, I guess, solve the Middle East. That's working out. Like, I just, like, maybe, like, if you want to tell me I'm exaggerating, tell me where I need to back off to. He's an agent of the Saudi government. Again, I don't close the window so that we have low quality video. For my better rants, I will save the podcast. But I mean, come on. Like, if he's not an agent, what would you call that?
Yeah, I mean, that seems pretty clear. You can totally tell even in his body language the way he reacts to the question.
He's like, "Sure, of course, that's what they want." Oh, wait, hold on.
Yeah, he goes JFK, yep. 9/11, yep. And then Epstein, yeah. I mean, but
Just so
caveat,
you know.
caveat.
Yeah, let's hear the rest of that. Let's hear the rest of that. What came after that but?
There's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would.
If you notice every other question,
this is also the guy that told what's her name? Ghislaine. Told Ghislaine I wish her well. That's still weird. Like, again, talking about things that are a week and a half old. Why don't we talk about him saying I wish her well more? Like that. I don't know what the fuck that means, but the fact that I don't know what the fuck that means something.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Again, now's the time I close the window. All right. And now I'm lost. Lying about investigating Hillary. Oh, this one's pretty good. I think this clip he does. This is a 2-hitter in one. I believe it's all in one run. He lies about saying that he wouldn't investigate Hillary, and then he threatens Jill Biden. Oh, sorry.
With like, as an example, Hillary with the hammering of her cell phones and all.
That's how it happened. Hammer. Well, maybe she did hammer her cell phones, but they always talk about like acid washing the hard drives. If I put you on the spot, can you explain that one? Do you remember the story? This is some bullshit given like a lot of rope to Democrats, but when you hear this, it actually makes enough sense. You're like, all right, I get it. Do you remember it?
I don't remember.
There's a guy that was in charge of those hard drives and
a private server
and like when he heard word of it, the way that it was told to him, he was like, well, the safest thing to do would be to wipe this right now, which is a very suspicious thing to say and do. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, just like Iran Contra, we're just gonna shred all this. Like, I just seem to forget.
Just like, you know, the pool flooded, and that's why all the video surveillance is gone.
Okay. Look, I'm not giving the best explanation for the one I was talking about, but it sounds a lot better than the pool flooded.
Well, it does, yes.
Because we always put the servers underneath the pool room.
That's where it goes. I mean,
One of the things she did.
Any IT guy will tell you.
But wouldn't it be terrible to throw the president's wife and the former Secretary of State? Think of it: the former Secretary of State, but the president's wife into jail. Wouldn't that be a terrible thing? But they wanted.
It sounds like this is how mafia people talk.
Yeah. Can you imagine if somebody did that? Like, you know,
it'd
be a real shame if somebody came in here and broke all your windows and set the place on fire, wouldn't it? Like that.
Shame if Dr. Jill was in jail. I wonder why jail's on his mind. Did you see that stuff about him? These are things that happened last week and fell out of the news too. There's things where people were coming out and being like, okay, I don't know why I waited until now, but like Mark Esper was like, yeah, he asked if we could shoot the protesters. And he's like, can't we just shoot them in the legs or something? It's like,
yeah.
I mean, there's been a lot of that came out. He talked about, he threatened to, I swear to God, I saw something today that said he threatened to execute cabinet members. That can't be true.
I didn't see that. But I mean, we all
I don't
know
trust that one. That's one of those ones I'll retract.
He was comfortable tear gassing protesters.
And then holding a Bible
holding the
upside
Bible.
down. A Bible. Is that
Bible.
your Bible, sir? It's a Bible.
It's a Bible.
Yeah.
I have many throughout my home. They're just everywhere, you know.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so many. It's not the family, but it's one of the many. And by the way, I have one for sale for $100 that has the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. I partnered with country legend Lee Greenwood to bring you the Church and State Bible.
We consider to be in the persuadable window. And a lot of times people are like, no way somebody who voted for this guy twice, would not vote for him again. But actually, one thing you got to remember is that January 6th happened after people voted for Trump. And so like there was a whole group of people who after that were like, this is my red line. I'm not doing this again. And so that's the kind of voter that we're talking to. So let's listen to how they reacted to Trump's conviction.
It gave me proof that I wasn't thinking unclearly, because you always try to gauge yourself and say, well, maybe I thought way too far this way. But
these are people that
I knew that Trump he was guilty. I don't believe I would stand up and sell a Bible for $60 when they put me all over the news for exactly what we saw on the news yesterday. So I can't vote for him.
I think some people make him more attractive to them, more bucking of the system and the bad boy, and now it's even more of a bad boy stamp.
Speaking of bad boys, I have something that's been bugging me for like a week and a half.
Okay.
They talked about it on the Reason Roundtable, but I was already thinking this too. But I should give them credit. I don't want to sound like I'm stealing from them. I do listen to that show. There's a new Bad Boys movie out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are we good on this clip?
Yeah, I think so.
So there's a new Bad Boys movie out, right? What's it called?
Is it Ride or Die? I think
It is. It's Bad Boys Ride or Die. What number in the series is it?
4.
It is. What was the last one called? What was the third one called? Bum, 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 bum.
You're loving it. No.
That's not the song. You know what? I don't want that. Is there a thing musically? Like, you did hint at that before. No, that was bum, 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 bum. We ain't going nowhere. We can't stop now because it's Bad Boys for Life. It's okay.
Bad Boys for Life. Okay.
I'm not doing a very good Diddy impression. That's what's wrong. Here, let me try it again. Imagine I'm diddling 4 rappers at the same time.
Okay. Now I see it.
You get it. Yeah, it's about this. So the last one, the third one, was called Bad Boys with the number 4. Just to be cool, I guess, because it's 1997. So the third one was called Bad Boys for Life. I guess they thought they shot their wad and there wasn't going to be another one in the series.
Right.
And then they're like, well, we got a 4th one. What's another Bad Boys? Oh, Ride or Die. That'd be a good name. God, it sure would be cool if we still had that Bad Boys number 4 available. It makes me, it's like, there's no way it's going to be a good movie. It can't be good. They already, by the way, the third one sucked. I bought
third
it.
one was
It
in
like
Miami.
during the pandemic or right before it or something. I think it was during the pandemic.
I don't remember it.
Doesn't that tell you?
That tells me something. Yeah. The first one was one of my favorite movies.
Michael Bay. That was Michael Bay's first movie.
Was it really? I didn't know that.
That's what
I love that fucking movie.
It is great. It is great.
Yeah.
All right, we're good here. Let's do a little bit more podcast. Oh, this is fun. This is a British person.
Okay.
So it's fancy, right? So like we could have anybody come on here. You said you had more about Donald Trump talking about one of his favorite stories. Because remember, like he's trying to catch the nostalgia of 2016. And remember, one of the stories of 2016 was that he didn't really have a catchphrase through the campaign. And then they try different chants, or they try to get the crowd to get involved with certain things. And then sort of organically, the whole build the wall thing, lock her up, build the wall.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, well, who cares what we think? People will vote for me for this. Let's do that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's a politician. I'm not saying Trump's unique in that way. He's very good at that, though.
He is.
So he's just looking for another one. And somewhere in his head, he thinks that
I will take electrocution
is going to be this year's chant. So he for 6 months, he's been repeating this. Like, if I'm sinking on a boat with a battery and it might electrocute me, which plays like zero regard for how it would disperse my, sorry, that's bugged me as someone that deals with electricity and has been electrocuted. Like if you are
how that works.
If you are very close, perhaps, but like, no. Okay. Also, okay. I'm done with that. Or a shark. He'll take his chances worth. So you'll take your chances versus something that will stun you and make you not able to swim for about a minute and a half, if you're lucky, or maybe living with a shark nearby. Like I'll try. I actually will take the shark. If it's battery or shark is the new woman, man, or bear.
By the way, I would take battery just because it won't electrocute you, to your point. But so
that's a great point.
Trump is very I think if given his druthers, you could just
druthers. I'm playing a fancy Brit here in a second, and you're using druthers.
You could just tell Trump that he could just go to rallies like 3 days a week for the rest of his life and have
you don't have to be
adoring
president.
crowds.
We'll leave you alone.
He would love it. He fucking
Like, oh my God, that's the deal. We just say, look, man, you don't have to be president. All the shit that we know you did.
Right.
It's fine. Just do rallies and live like you're the president.
But
he didn't want it because he wants the actual thing. Like this has been a very mental health podcast, but I mean, he is the result of bad daddying. And
so all he wants is that
chemistry, right?
All he wants is that adoration of the crowd, right? That's all he cares about. And so he is very responsive to how crowds react to him. So when he gets a pop, I think that registers in his mind, and he's like, "Oh, I got to keep doing that bit."
Totally.
So just the origin story. I don't know what this clip is going to be, but the origin story
this is play it after this. Do the origin story, and then we'll play the theatrical reading of Trump's shark story.
So how this happened initially was he was talking to like a CEO or something of a company that makes boats. And the guy told him, hey, the Biden administration wants to have all electric boats, which I don't even.
Oh, because he's been talking about electric tanks lately too.
Yes.
Okay.
He's like, and the guy's like, the problem is like batteries are so heavy, the boat's gonna sink. Like,
Oh my God.
you can't make an all electric boat.
Knowing the backstory doesn't make it better. Can you tell the rest of the story after this? Like,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm Anthony Davis, and I think too many of us have become immune to Donald Trump's ramblings, so I figured I would read a portion of his most recent speech. So I said, let me ask you a question. And he said, nobody ever asks this question, and it must be because of MIT. My relationship to MIT, very smart. He goes, I say, what would happen if the boat sank from its weight and you...
Will you talk about the MIT later on too?
Sure. Yeah.
You're in the boat and you have this tremendously powerful battery, and the battery is now underwater, and there's a shark that's approximately 10 yards over there. By the way, a lot of shark attacks lately. Did you notice that? A lot of shark. I watched some guys justifying it today. Well, they weren't really that angry. They bit off the young lady's leg because of the fact that they were not hungry, but they misunderstood who she was. These people are cray, he said. There's no problem with sharks, they just don't really understand. A young woman swimming now really got decimated, and other people too. A lot of shark attacks. So I said, so there's a shark 10 yards away from the boat, 10 yards, or here. Do I get electrocuted if the boat is sinking and water goes over the battery, the boat is sinking? Do I stay on top of the boat? And
in the pre-show, when I was telling you that those guys were like, you should really meet Trump in person. You would, compared to Biden mentally, you'd be happier.
Charming,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, this is the way charming people talk. Like, I get it.
Right.
Like, he can tell a story.
Yeah.
I don't want him to be president. I'll take the mistakes this guy is going to make over. Okay, sorry. I always had to shoehorn bullshit in. Sorry.
And then get electrocuted? Or do I jump over by the shark and not get electrocuted? Because I'll tell you, I didn't know the answer, he said. Nobody's ever asked me that question. I said, I think it's a good question. I think there's a lot of electric current going through that water. But you know what I'd do? If there was a shark or if you get electrocuted, I'd take electrocution every single time. I'm not getting near the Shah. I'm Anthony Davis.
You can't make
I
this shit
behaved
up.
so well.
Oh, that's what I wanted. Oh, wait, this one too. This is a good one.
Spunk.
Okay, I'm done.
So, all right. So that's when this what he just quoted happens, right? So he talks. He's talking to the CEO.
Okay,
Guy's
not an MIT. So
So he's like, the batteries are going to make the boat sink, and then so he's like, oh, I have a question. Like, if the boat's sinking, and could it electrocute you essentially? And it goes into this whole story. All right, the MIT connection is he had an uncle who was a professor at MIT, and so he always talks about that as if some proximity to MIT makes
via
him
osmosis.
right.
And
makes
like,
him
he
intelligent.
says, fast horses breeding theory.
Right.
Like,
Right.
it's like, for the party that talks about eugenics way too much.
Right.
Like,
And by the way, when the guy says, nobody's ever asked me that question, he takes that as a sign of like, oh, I'm super intelligent.
I
But
came up with the question only the smartest person on the planet could have ever think of.
Right. Maybe it's not quite that. Maybe it's not quite that.
Oh, I've never heard anyone say that before.
But also, I mean, as we've already stated, the battery electrocuting you in the ocean is not really an issue.
I will say though, just as a fun fact, distilled water would not have any electrocution because what actually happens is the conductivity via the minerals in water.
Sure.
That's fun to know.
Yeah, but so the amount of water that we're talking about,
right. It's dispersed. It's the same reason you can like be over here and there's an eel over there.
Right. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. He's famously doesn't like sharks. I don't know if
I don't like sharks.
Jaws. I don't know if he saw Jaws and it scarred him or something.
Same.
But
I also surfed my whole life.
There's that.
I don't like getting off the boat in the ocean though. I don't like getting off the boat in the lake. I'm like, what if one's in there? I've seen Gar. What if they make big Gar?
I've seen
Dude,
river
Gar are
monsters.
crazy, man.
Dude, Gar are crazy.
Gar are crazy. That'd be a name. If
River. So
if we weren't
what's
so funny. All this show, Gar are crazy would be.
Gar are crazy. Jeremy, I can't remember his last. No, the guy from River Monsters. He actually had a Gar hit him in the sternum, and like he's injured for life.
Like straight on.
Yeah.
A Gar?
I think it was a Gar.
Wow.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
Shit, man. They got gar in the river here. One of these times you come out here, we'll canoe the Caney. There's like a mile-long stretch of gar. It's really cool. You just keep your feet on the boat. They won't bite you, but like but you're just like, nah, I'd rather just be up here.
I'd rather, yeah.
Don't want to bother them. Let's get on to the best of the right.
Okay.
We have a very obvious clip that we have to play about some secret dialogue with Judge Alito. And I've heard people shit on that piece of tape saying that, like, since when is how people speak amicably at cocktail parties an excuse? And I think I have a response for that. I think I'll hear your response first. I actually might have a tape of showing you how you actually speak in cocktail parties when crazy people approach you. It might be the exact same person both times, asking the questions. But first, as podcasters enter the room, I want to talk about Brett Kavanaugh. Brett Kavanaugh wrote the opinion for the mifepristone case. So this broke while we were on Not a Honeymoon, not me and Alan's honeymoon. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Lighthearted, fancy-free. Talk about the mifepristone case, and I want to read a piece. Should I read it first? Let me read you Kavanaugh's opinion. They dismissed the mifepristone case, the abortion pill case, which, if you remember, was basically, we're a group of doctors that feel like the burden on us would be more people taking a form of birth control that we don't like. So therefore we have standing to bring this case.
Right.
Since we will have to dispense birth control that will terminate a pregnancy or call it an abortion pill, since we'll have to dispense that, we have standing in this case. And this is the way that the Supreme Court dismissed it, written by Brett I Like Beer Kavanaugh. The plaintiffs do not prescribe or use mifepristone, and FDA is not requiring them to do or refrain them from doing anything. Rather, the plaintiffs want FDA to make mifepristone more difficult for other doctors to prescribe and for pregnant women to obtain. Note pregnant women, not pregnant persons. That's because the new judge didn't write it. Come on, culture. Under Article 3 of the Constitution, a plaintiff's desire to make a drug less available for others does not establish standing to sue. Quote, Catherine Mangu Ward from the Reason Roundtable podcast, mind your business. That's basically what he said. Like, you don't want them to. That's not enough standing to sue. Like,
yeah, I agree with that. I mean, the problem is that they're not saying outright that people should have access to this drug, and so theoretically,
but part of how they argued this, they kind of dismissed an argument that was like, well, will someone else have standing? And the response to that was essentially, it's really hard for me to imagine that. So like they
but not impossible.
But not impossible. But like this court was like, I kind of feels like the things you're asking are things that are beyond the scope of what you think we need to be prescribing.
Right.
And that like, it's just not something that he's like go back to look, most people only quoted that one sentence. Under the Constitution, plaintiff's desire to make a drug less available is not established standing to sue. Most people were talking about that quote. I think the first part's more important. The plaintiffs do not prescribe or use mifepristone, and FDA is not requiring them to do or refrain from doing anything. Rather, they want mifepristone to be less available. I don't know what person would get around that and present a case, but I could imagine the Heritage Foundation to imagine a case.
Yeah, and I don't trust this court at all.
To not be like, finally, you said it right.
Right.
Yeah, they're like fucking wizards or trolls. They're like, oh, finally, you said the right formulation of words.
Right. You said abracadabra, the correct
not
inflection
the version.
Yeah.
These brain pillars are working, man.
Nice.
So let's talk about let's set up this clip I'm about to play.
Okay, so this is Alito. He was at a convention with a bunch of other Supreme Court justices and
this activist that does a show called The Undercurrent.
She does a show called The Undercurrent, and she poses as sort of a right-wing Christian.
She basically does O'Keefe.
It's like Veritas, but opposite. However, I would say she's less disingenuous. She uses her real name.
She's not like
like
she released the entire conversation instead of
instead of cleverly edited Planned
And then
Parenthood.
turning and being like, so what does that mean to you? It's like,
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
thought, the one you just hinted at.
Yeah, still, I mean, let's
know
play
that we
it.
can negotiate with the left in the way
I don't even know
that needs to happen for the polar.
Sorry, I tried to pause it. I don't know that we can negotiate with the left in the way that needs to happen for the polarization to end.
Polarization to end. I think that it's a matter of like winning.
I think you're probably right. I think one side or the other is going to win. I don't know. I mean, there can be a way of working, a way of living together peacefully, but it's difficult, because there are differences on fundamental things that really can't be compromised. So it's not like we're going to split the difference.
I'm not saying that I can't. I'm not saying that I can't imagine somebody saying that holds the beliefs that I suspect him of holding. I'm saying when you're so fucking special with your like judgment that they put you in a job described by that word.
Mhm.
I said that wrong. I hold you to a little higher standard than that. He's just talking to someone at a cocktail bar. Like those words should never fucking come out of your mouth in private or in public.
I mean, you're
And
one
you're
of
a
9.
judge.
You're one of 9 people that is on the highest court in the land that decides all these important issues for the country. And the only reason that anybody, accepts or trusts the decisions that come out of the Supreme Court is because they're supposed to be
You should think, how
impartial.
dare I think better than you?
They're
Or at
supposed
least
to,
that group of you.
right. They're supposed to check that stuff at the door, right?
Yeah.
And he knows he's in public. He knows that people there know who he is. It's not like he's just some random dude. So when he's like, no, I agree, one side has to win, and we can try to live together.
But haven't you ever been cornered by a crazy person at a cocktail party, Alan? Like there is so that's the argument people keep saying. But like
right.
that's what you say. Like you don't go out and add more to it. You go, oh yeah, that's crazy, man. Like that's literally, you go, that's crazy, man. Yeah, it do be like that. But you don't be like, no, you're right. There really can't be compromise. It's not like you can split the difference. Like you're a judge and you're saying that we can't compromise and you can't
We execute
you
the
split the baby. I mean, come on. We learned this in your Bible.
Solomon taught us this.
Yes.
It's problematic for sure. And it's not like, so if this was if this was Lindsey Graham or Mitch McConnell saying it, I think that's different.
Sure.
But when you're a Supreme Court justice, as I said, one of 9 people on the highest court in the land, you got to know better than that. But this is the same guy that, the flags and the fucking
Oh, I'm not going to play the other one because the other one really is too gossipy. There's the one of there was another clip of Mrs. Alita, Martha.
Oh.
Martha? It's not Barbara?
I think it's Martha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there was one of her talking about it. She's like, I'll get them. Don't worry. There's a 5-year what do you call that? Where you can still be in trouble for things.
Oh,
take your time. I'm reading. Term limit. No,
no, not term limit.
You know what? It doesn't matter.
Why
Everyone
can't I
knows.
pull it? Yeah, everybody knows what we're talking about.
Yeah, everybody knows.
Everybody
Okay,
knows that.
So, all right. So the excuse is that's just people at cocktail parties. Haven't you ever been cool? I guess you're not cool. Haven't you ever been cornered at a cocktail party before?
Right.
And I can say, so the exact same person, the person that does this, you're saying like, what a scumbag, how could you expect anybody of any moral character, no matter what, to be able to respond to that? Well, I don't know. The same exact person went up to the Chief Justice Roberts and asked him a bunch of bullshit questions too. They asked him if America's a Christian nation.
No, I think the role for the court is deciding the cases. If I start, would you want me to be in charge of guiding us toward a moral path? That's for the people we elect. That's not for lawyers.
They asked him if he thought it should be a Christian. Here, let me back up a little.
It's not new. I guess I really feel like we're at a point in our country where the polarization is so extreme that it might be irreparable.
Oh, I don't think that.
I think
it's extreme. Is like the Civil War. We did that during Vietnam. People were getting killed in I was there in Vietnam. This is all right. I mean, it's not all right, but it's not like it's as dramatically different. People is. It's a common thing. People with their own perspective think this is so extraordinary. I don't know.
But you don't think there's like a role for the court in like guiding us toward a more moral path?
No, I think the role for the court is deciding the cases. If I start, would you want me to be in charge of guiding us toward a more moral path? That's for the people we elect. That's not for lawyers.
How could you possibly expect a judge to give such a reasonable response?
I mean, no big fan of Roberts, but that was a great answer. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
he really
I
that
hate agreeing with him too, right? It's like
Yeah.
talking about Joe Biden being like,
Right. By the way, the term we couldn't pull was statute of limitations. I don't know why
Yeah.
that was stuck in my head. But
Statutes.
yes.
Yeah. I like that though. Would you want me to decide a moral path for the nation? It's like, no,
No,
exactly.
that was
I want you
that
to-
was a brilliant response. It really
Yes,
was.
yeah.
That's
and it's
somebody-
almost like if you're one of 9 people, you should be held. It's the same thing. We're like, no, I just don't think cops should be so upset that they kill people this often. Like, I tend to agree. Most aren't like that. I'm upset in this instance, and then this
Right.
one, and then this one. Like, yes, I think you should lose your job when you're bad at it. This guy, like, when are we going to start impeaching these people? It's a fucking thing. I say the story all the time because it's a fun historical fact. But after Aaron Burr killed Hamilton, he fled to DC because DC didn't have extradition to New Jersey. Words. And at the time, he was the vice president of the United States, and his only job, because they were not yet the successor to the president, their only job was to preside over the Senate, and he had to get back to the Senate because the Senate was trying to impeach a judge, a Supreme Court justice.
Right.
Like, we're not considering it over any of this shit. Like, how are you supposed to take? Like Alan said, he said something reasonably. I'm saying something emotionally. How are you supposed to take? How are you supposed to take anything that these 9 people collectively are agreeing on and not be like, well, clearly there was a lot of bullshit in that room because I don't trust 2 of you, and the rest of you, I don't know about a lot of you, and that's on both sides.
Right.
Like, I don't take you seriously, and oddly enough, the guy George Bush appointed is the most reasonable one there. That
odd.
also says a lot.
Yeah, it does. It does. But I mean, that was an entirely different party when Bush was in charge. Yeah, no, it's
Dick Cheney.
It's easy to like look at Alito's comments and be like, that's not that bad. But then if you consider the context of who this person is, then no, that is that bad. That we should expect more of our Supreme Court. We should.
My job is to decide cases. That's it.
Yep. Like Robert said.
Yep.
That was the perfect answer.
All right. All right. This doesn't even include the bullshit that they pulled with between Obama, the end of Obama and the end of Trump.
That was McConnell.
That's not. So I heard people say that. They're like, that was just McConnell being amazing. It's like that.
Not amazing. That was McConnell being an asshole. But
Yeah. But like, so does that mean you say, I guess I should just move on from that? That's fucking bullshit.
Yeah. No, it is.
All right, fine.
It absolutely
Getting upset.
One here. I don't.
This is from the Trump trials episode. This is, why is this in Best of the Right? Oh, this is about the ethics of judges. Oh, this is on the same subject. So, oh, right. Lawfare isn't about Trump. Lawfare is about, well, what the hell is Lawfare about, Alan?
Lawfare is about the enforcement of the law. It's not
So
about.
it's a legal podcast.
Yes.
Okay. It's late in the show. Don't give me shit.
think fundamentally is systemic.
Don't send him this clip while we ask him to come on the show.
Yeah.
Start over.
One here, I don't think fundamentally is systemic.
Problem.
I think the problem here fundamentally is personal and relates to the capacity of shame of individuals. There was a time, and it was not that long ago, when a $20,000 gift from a rich person to Abe Fortas caused Abe Fortas to resign from the court after facing potential impeachment. And now we have a justice who has taken apparently $4 million in gifts and seems utterly unashamed by it. And we have another justice who seems content to say that the flying of flags from his house is merely an expression of his wife's constitutional and property rights. And I don't know that I have a problem with the 200-year plus of practice that Supreme Court justices decide for themselves when to recuse. And I don't know that I have a problem with the performance on that score by 7 justices of the Supreme Court. And I do think that we have a problem with 2 justices who seem to not, and I don't really know how to say this politely, who don't seem to be concerned about optics problems with their own behavior, and don't seem to see why anybody would have cause to question whether this has something to do with the substance of their rulings.
So I gotta say I disagree with him here.
And don't listen.
So when he says he doesn't think the problem is systemic, okay, well, if this kind of behavior is flaunted and allowed and there are no repercussions, then what do you call that? I don't call that a system that's functioning. Like, that's just not. So
You get his point, though, right? You feel like it's not a systemic problem because it really hasn't been this issue until there's.
So he's saying that there's a lack of shame and that these guys are
And
just willing-
that says more. I wanted to interrupt then, but I failed to pause it effectively. Like, for years, I've been as much of a guilty party of this as well. We as a society forgot about shame. Like, we like one of the best things that could have happened in our lifetime was to be a star on Maury or Jerry Springer, right?
Right.
Like,
but I think what happened was Trump pushed that to the very outer limits of the boundaries, right? And
Yeah.
we saw what he did, and the fact that he was just shameless and willing to push, as far as he could. He pushed all these institutions, all these norms out the window, and just said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do what I want. I'm a bull in a china shop." But to say that it's not a systemic problem, a system that allows this behavior to propagate is not a functional system.
I think it's it's a fault in the institution, but I wouldn't call it a systemic problem. But I can't say why I have a different definition.
So here's the thing. So we functioned for.
I thought I had you.
we functioned for hundreds of years with these guardrails, these things that are not, they're not written down in law. They're just accepted practice. They're norms. And when those things start to break down and we don't have a response to that, when the pump fails in the aquarium and the water turns to shit, and
The pool floods the server,
and there's nothing to fix that, then what do you call that if not a problem with the system? Like, that's I mean, maybe I'm being too
okay. You're
definitional here.
nitpicking, but it's worthwhile because I was persuaded by the way he said that. But I understand your point.
Okay.
What is there to be done about this?
Congress needs to do something.
Okay. All right. I thought we had a chance. I was like, for a second, I was like, I know it's a naive question, and then you proved me right. Okay. I'm actually, remember when I talked about shame a few seconds ago?
Right.
I'm not going to edit because I don't edit anymore.
Good. I like it that way.
All right. I got to speed up. We got to speed up this show. Got a lot to
Southern
get to.
speed.
It's okay to be a fat show coming back, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
Fat show.
It's a fat show, man.
The pH.
Good. We got good curves,
Hell yeah.
I like this. I put work into this. I gotta play this. Something happened in this world. I am playing a clip of Al Sharpton in a positive light.
Oh, all right.
So Representative Byron Donalds has been out saying things like, things were better under Jim Crow than you think.
Oh, okay.
And and Al Sharpton is like, but you know what? It might come off wrong if I paraphrase him. What say I just hit the share button and start the plan?
All right.
We are going to talk about the error, Congressman, and you named a race-based law then you cannot take race out of the fact Jim Crow was a law against black people. You weren't just talking about the era of Dwight Eisenhower and Harry Truman. You named Jim Crow. There's only one way you could deal with Jim Crow, and that's by race. I mean, look, look, you and I have mutual friends. People say you're a straight shooter. We may disagree on politics. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. But look, you were born in Brooklyn. You went down into the South, went to Florida State. You have an interracial marriage. You're the congressman of a district that's not a black district.
Hey, can we just pause it there and let that, like, just, you give him a chance to put some solve in it? Like, he's looking at him like, what? He's holding his face. Look.
I mean, how can you even live with yourself acting like Jim Crow was a good era or better era for blacks? What happened to you?
Okay, that's real cute. That's real cute. I did not say that. And I'm not going to sit here.
You know what? I meant to say this earlier when you were talking. Remember that one clip that mentioned Kendrick earlier? We just paused because these guys
are not us. Yeah.
Like that, like, I've been thinking about it. The more I think about it, it was not fair of Kendrick to be like, you're a pedo. Like, what do you possibly do? Like, you can't address it because, like, all the memes, like,
right,
I'm totally not a pedophile. Can't you tell by me telling you I'm not a pedophile? But like, dude, oh man, it all, like, I agree. I like Kendrick more anyways, but oh boy, like, that was nuclear. That was like, you're either going to destroy me. Oh, you can't. Well, looks like I won. Okay. All right. Anyways, this wasn't quite that far, but this pod, that almost looks artistic. Look at Sharpton in that. That really can't be. That is a wax figure of a person, right? There's a lot of makeup. I mean, the only excuse is maybe it's like the truest expression of black don't crack, and he's just got a waxy head. But like,
no, I think that may be embellished.
Wait, plastic surgery. He's probably had some. And if not, you know what? All compliments, because he's older than Joe Biden. He's got to be older than Joe Biden. Right?
I think he is. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyways,
straight up insinuate that against me, because right now you're lying about what I said. I did say Jim Crow. I did reference it 3 times. That's not to say that it was better. I never said that. Those words never came out of my mouth. When are you going to get that through your skull and everybody else's skull? I never said that. And the difference between me and a lot of other Republicans, I'm not going
because my skull has ears.
Heard what you said. You said it was better for us.
I'm not going to let you
under Jim Crow to bring families together. Did you say that?
Hakeem Jeffries was lying. The Biden campaign was lying.
All right.
Go look at my words.
Have you considered that he was lying? I mean, maybe we should go look at his words.
He did say that, though.
Okay. He did say it. Really do be like that.
It really do be like that. He really, this guy, I don't know what he's trying to be. Obviously, he's
trying to find a lane. He's just
he's a congressman from Florida.
Fundraising. Imagine if we didn't have to worry about bullshit fundraising. We had ranked choice, like we were talking about earlier. You wouldn't have to deal with so much culture war. Maybe.
No, you're right. No, you're.
Sorry. You were being.
What I'm thinking of is trying to understand his motivation to say things like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's trying to attract a certain type of voter, and probably that rhetoric works in Florida. But it is pretty shocking to see in here.
Tis, Alan.
Yes.
The second best. If I asked you who's the second best Kennedy in politics, who would you guess?
Oh, Ted.
He's not alive.
Alan. You didn't stay alive.
Oh, wow. That's even more spicy. No, I'm going to go with John Kennedy from Louisiana, Mr. Kala Crackhead. He's also the guy that read all the porn into the Congress.
Oh, that guy.
Or into the Senate. Here we go.
I'm going to save my time. If your answer
this is the second most reasonable Kennedy in politics.
It's going to be that never happens. Let me go to Ms. Fry. What do you think?
Well, Senator, first of all, if you don't ask a question if you don't want to know the answer.
Oh.
And I think 1%, but I'm saying to you, Senator, 1% of abortions happen at 21 weeks or later. Mm-hmm. So I think the premise of your question sets up a conversation about abortion that is unfair. Rarely is that ever the instance. The vast majority of pregnancies and abortions that are considered late in a pregnancy have to do with severe, devastating, medical circumstances. And I understand your point, Senator. I understand your point. But with all due respect, I also think the chances of people sort of getting all the way through a pregnancy and just sort of saying, I don't want it, is disrespectful to women.
I'm going to save my time. If your answer is going to be that.
I had to stop it twice. Sorry. What she said.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add to that. I think she said it really well.
This is what happens when you ask a really dumb question. He's just like, well, I got something that wins on the front porch. Let me tell you this one. And he leans back with that confident smirk, knowing that no matter what she says, people are still going to vote for him.
Yep.
Because he can still make that a clip. He doesn't have to play her answer. He has to play the clip in the commercial.
His smug little look. Yep. That's all that matters.
This guy in Colorado goes so fucking hard. I think this is the guy that did that debate. Remember when I played that clip for the Beetlejuice handjob lady, Mommy Bobert?
Yeah.
So the guy that ran that debate, he got super amplified off of Bobby talking shit at him. I don't think that we would have had to know his name, right?
I think I actually follow his personal account now.
So he's a local affiliate. I think for a Fox channel in Colorado. I think it's Fox. I'm not sure.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. And well, he's asking a candidate that if abortion.
So this guy admits that his girlfriend had an abortion. He says, I didn't want that to happen, but that was her choice, and I thought it was okay because it's her choice. And at the same time,
he's literally trying to
eliminate that choice.
Cake and have it too.
Yes.
You're asking me a question.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
In fairness, your logic was a bit scattered in that speech. What I'm asking you about is the fact that you said that you respected your girlfriend's right to an abortion and then gave her money to help her through an important time to live her best life.
You did exactly what I did.
But yet you've tried to deny that to other women. And I'm asking, why is an abortion good for your girlfriend, bad for other women? That's my question. Simple question.
Okay. Yeah. What are you, Gavin Newsom? Rules for thee, but not for me.
Had an abortion. Was that her choice? Yes. Did she have that right? Yes. Was it my choice, Kyle? No.
Why do you
seek to
Can I interrupt with a hot take?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what were you going to say? Perhaps I shouldn't ask someone who's raised a child this question, because should your son ever listen to this documented answer, who knows if that'd be a good thing.
No, so did my girlfriend have a choice? Yes. Did I agree with it? No, but she deserved to have that choice. Well, then why the fuck are you trying to legislate against other women having that choice? That makes
that's all it comes out. He's so fucking close, he can't see it. Like, that's all we're ever saying. Like, I agree with you. I don't like things where you take away the options.
Right.
It's the same things with guns. You like that with guns.
It's so weird that
I feel the same way. That's why I have this drawer here.
It's so weird that he can mentally do that gymnastics to say
it's just a block. It's just a block, and it's literally not going to change except for over multiple generations. And that's why we can't shoehorn these things in once. And it's bullshit culture wars across multiple lifespans.
Deny the choice that you
ask you a different question. I'll wait till the end.
Said was best for your girlfriend's life.
Let me finish explaining.
Why do you seek to deny it to other women?
Let me. I don't. You
have voted to restrict abortion access as well.
And I have. And I'm a pro-life person. I think you should try.
I think it started over. If we agree that you should have the right to make that choice, whether you have the abortion or not, and ultimately it's a woman's right, should men have the right to not pay child support?
Oh, this is interesting. So Thrash has been on this for a while, just sending stuff to me, and I'm like, why do you care about this?
You've got that question. Have you thought the same thing about this? Is a deep thinker, Alan. Why would you think that he should be excluded from thinking of those thoughts?
I mean, it is interesting. I think that if you
are you saying you don't think about other thoughts that maybe only affect other inclinations?
No, of course. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying he's a young person who hasn't been in this. Well, maybe he has. I don't know. Anyways, no, I think that
was good tap dancing, Alan.
If you contribute your DNA to a project that you didn't expect to have a certain outcome and it does, I think you got to be held
tech bro a project.
You got to be have some responsibility for that. I
tend to agree. I feel like you should morally agree with that. Like I feel like we shouldn't have to talk about courts. What the fuck is wrong with people?
Yes.
Like that's your life out continued in the world. Like
right.
You should give a shit about that. but I might have daddy issues, so I guess I don't get to have an opinion on that. All right, Hillary roast. We're making fun of the left. Every once in a while, we do that.
Oh yeah,
I feel like we've done a fine job. All right. This is that guy Noah Roasts that does roasts of famous people.
Oh, he's funny.
Yeah, he went through all the vice presidents and a bunch of historical figures. He's doing failed presidential candidates. And here's his one on Hillary.
Hi, I'm Noah, and I'm roasting every major failed U.S. presidential candidate in order. Today I'll be roasting Secretary of State, 2016 loser, and a woman seen here reacting to an underpaid assistant telling her that actually we don't use that word anymore, Hillary Clinton. When her husband was governor of Arkansas, Clinton used unpaid prisoners as her household staff, which she said kept labor costs down. People say Clinton is untraditional, but if there's one thing that's traditional, it's white people in the South having low labor costs. As First Lady of the U.S., Clinton gave a speech in support of her husband's harsh crime bill in which she said that a lot of youth offenders were super predators who had no conscience and had to be brought to heel. It's cool that Clinton was so versatile. As First Lady of Arkansas, she acted like a slaveholder, and as First Lady of the U.S., she sounded like one too. Clinton helped lead the U.S. response to Haiti's 2010 earthquake and opposed increasing the minimum wage to 61 cents an hour because it would discourage American investment. It might sound bad, but it's huge progress for Clinton. After all, in the 80s, she was paying a wage that was less than 61 cents an hour by 61 cents an hour. After losing the 2016 election, Clinton wrote a memoir which placed the blame for the loss on, among other factors, James Comey, Vladimir Putin, Barack Obama, Bernie Sanders, the media, and also herself. Only a true leader says, I take responsibility. When it comes to reasons why I lost, I am in the top 6. All right, if you haven't already.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, tell me you're a Bernie bro without telling me you're a Bernie bro, right?
That's very funny.
I put this in best of the left because it doesn't exist anymore. Man, I tried, guys. I tried.
No.
I fucking tried. That's my mother-in-law.
No.
That is such a great Australian no.
It is. It's a good one.
I had a clip where they were asking a bunch of people to name the Blue Angels what jet it was. I don't think that's this clip though, because this has F-15s in it, and I think I would have changed that to F-18s after I learned it was F-18s because I had things. So I didn't know either.
I didn't know.
I got a clip about Karine Jean-Pierre. She's just so fucking bad. Like,
is this for trying to defend the?
This is where the phrase got put out there. The cheap fakes instead of deep fakes.
Yeah.
And my only take on this is just hear this before you hear this. You didn't have to do this. And now that I kind of have my mindset that they're obviously doing this so that they can get in front of it and give it a name and sort of like propaganda, own it.
Bidenomics. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, except they were late on Bidenomics. They didn't even buy the website, remember?
Yes.
It just feels like, look, if people are sharing videos of of Joe Biden looking funny, like maybe don't talk about it. Like you're just bringing more eyeballs to it, and you're not. Nobody who has an opinion that's willing to have their mind changed is going to see this and be like, "Thank God she said that." But here,
it's not a health issue. Majorities of American voters who are telling pollsters repeatedly for years now that they have serious concerns about this president's cognitive fitness.
Because that's still valid, right? Like the reason people are opportunizing this footage is because in a real world, you would have picked someone else. It sucks we're fucking stuck with him. Yes. Like you as a party, I'm mad with. Now, why you're talking to the spokesperson for the administration, I have no idea what's wrong with you. Like, talk to the candidate. Like, go to a press conference where the chairperson of the party is what I meant to say is giving a speech and yell at them. But the spokesperson for the administration is going to give you shit like this, and she should dismiss these. I do think that it is smart politically to have created the phrase "cheap fakes" and tried to own the narrative. And I do actually give them credit for it, but I hate that type of politics.
I agree with that.
Here's a little bit more.
Are being misled by cheap fake videos?
I'm saying that there have been, in recent weeks, there have been cheap fakes videos that have been fact-checked. They've been fact-checked by conservative media as well to say that these videos are false. They're purposefully being altered. That is, look, the president has done more in his 3.5 years as president than most modern day president.
Nobody's listening to that. Nobody's listening to that. And the people that are listening aren't believing that because they're like, it still costs a lot. So there's two problems that the Democrats have. Old man that walks in weird steps and like turns around and doesn't stare at where the cameras are all located. And things cost a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's a challenging spot to be in for her of sorts, but she is the communicator for the president, for the administration, and I'm not going to give her a pass that it's a challenging thing to deal with. Like that, you're there because you're supposed to be able to deal with challenging situations.
100%.
And so, yeah, that she could have that could have been better.
It's the same thing we said earlier, right? It's like, I expect you to be better as a judge. I have a higher standard for police officers. Sorry, I tend to think you don't put your neck on people until they stop breathing when all they did was use a 20 in the wrong way. And they have a history of being assholes with you, and you guys might have something personal. I still think maybe you should take your knee off their neck before they stop breathing. Just crazy thought. It's crazy thought.
Yeah. I mean, with power comes responsibility, right? So if you have that job, you're supposed to be able to rise to those occasions. That's part of the deal. Yes.
It's another battle in the culture wars. Oh, not the culture wars. They're worried about a culture war. Culture wars. Stop with the culture wars.
So I present to you something that will sound very familiar. Do you remember
our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities, the El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa.
So this is from 5-6 years ago. They were playing those videos. So this is Sinclair Broadcasting. Sinclair Broadcasting owns dozens, maybe even hundreds of local dozens.
I think it's like maybe less than 20, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Are you sure? Okay. Well, they're not.
At least at the time, I think.
They're in medium markets, and they're very influential because what they do is they have a corporate script that they give to their local anchors that are delivered to local broadcasts as your local anchors, sometimes filmed in studios thousands of miles off site. Like they just dress up and pretend to be from Tucson or something, right? And this works really well in an environment where we don't trust national news, and we have a higher, I think it's like 30% trust in national news or mass media, rightfully so. Sure, I get it. And we have a higher trust in local news. At least they know what's going on with me, right? So they hijacked that by giving it a corporate speak, right? This is like when Bed Bath & Beyond dresses up as your local neighborhood department store. Hello, fellow department store.
Yes. A troubling trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country. Do you remember that nightmare fuel from 2018? The media organization Sinclair Broadcast Group, which owns nearly 200 local TV news outlets, had dozens of their local anchors across the country all read the same Orwellian script about bias in the media.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Today, Sinclair Broadcast Group was caught again with dozens of local anchors again reading the same script. The newsletter's public notice and popular information first brought attention to the copycat newscasts, which featured a script you might say has a very clear conservative agenda.
The Wall Street Journal calling into question the mental fitness of President Joe Biden. The Wall Street Journal is out with reporting calling into question the mental fitness of President.
You can imagine this goes on, right? I'm aware of the length of the show. You can imagine that the listeners, you won't be upset if we stop this here. So what that came from was a Washington Post article that they amplified. It was one Washington Post article where the only people they could get, I don't think they got anyone on the record, or if they did, it was former speaker, Dumb Kevin. So like they took a Washington Post article, who, by the way, we just talked about the Washington Post. Like nobody wants to be associated with them anymore that works for them. They're losing subscribers. They are like, which sucks because in terms of left-wing newspapers, it really leaves the New York Times as the big one. And couple that with the death of local news, which Sinclair is at least digitally responsible for.
Right.
Can I baton to you? Can you run with that?
Yeah, so it's very concerning because now you have these media echo chambers and they're able to wield this power. And as you said, the trust levels for the American population is higher with local news because we're comfortable with these personalities that we get used to and think, they live in my community. They're neighbors. They're people I should trust because they understand what's happening locally. And so it just becomes a more and more troubling media environment.
Yeah, nope. You said it just fine. I feel like I want to land the plane.
Okay.
So I'm going to move a couple of these culture war clips to the pre-show for Friday, secret track.
Cool.
And let's do a misgender debacle. Wait, no. That's my mouse isn't working and I'm inebriated. I just saw blurry and I thought it scrolled up, but it turns out it scrolled down.
Okay.
I've had a couple of these teddy bears of wine.
Oh, nice.
And that Doppel IPA. Why did I pour more wine?
I don't know.
I feel good.
Nice.
Yeah.
You should
It's
feel
hard
good.
to imagine being anxious right now, actually.
Nice.
You just do this like all the time and then I'd be fine.
It is pretty great.
You just keep it going and you wake up and you feel anxious, you just do more of this, right?
No, it's not.
Okay.
That's not
I felt like it couldn't be that easy. Okay. All right. Then I've lived long enough to know that's not the answer.
Yeah, that's not. It's not the answer.
I got a clip from Stephen Fry. Remember the nearly homosexual you tried to talk about?
Yes.
Yes. Using that context to bring that up only works if people explicitly remember the time we couldn't remember Stephen Fry's name. And you're like, not Christopher Hitchens, like
British guy.
Opinionated, gay. I'm like, sounds like Christopher Hitchens. Okay. Anyway, Stephen Fry. I feel like, at times in our lives, we may not have appreciated him. And then as the world's gone crazy, it's like, I don't know. Maybe I always would have.
He seems a very sane voice.
Yes.
My real objection is that I don't think political correctness works. I want to get to the Golden Hill, but I don't think that's the way to get there. I believe one of the greatest human failings is to prefer to be right than to be effective. And political correctness is always obsessed with how right it is without thinking of how effective it might be. I wouldn't class myself as a classical libertarian, but I do relish transgression. And I deeply and instinctively distrust conformity and orthodoxy. Progress is not achieved by preachers and guardians of morality, but, to paraphrase Yevgeny Zemyatin, by madmen, hermits, heretics, dreamers, rebels, and skeptics. My real...
That's beautifully said. I mean, so the problem with politically correctness, I know we're trying to land the plane here, but...
Oh, we're good. I got one more clip.
Okay.
It's going to be Vanilla Ice, so don't worry.
Okay. All right. The problem is that you can...
Please bridge the gap between Stephen Fry and Vanilla Ice.
I'll try. So you can stop saying the F word. You can stop saying
Fuck?
the N. No, the other one. You can stop saying the N word. You can stop. You can like sort of culturally mandate that we don't say those words anymore. That doesn't mean that the vitriol behind those words goes away. And it's not, we didn't win because we stopped saying a word. That didn't change culture. Okay.
Right.
That's
I
not
had
enough.
a sociology professor that always said, like, he didn't like being called African American. This is in the 90s. So who fucking knows? Early 2000s. So like, this is probably incredibly racist now. But actually, I think it won. But at the time, I took his words to heart.
Yeah.
He said, I would rather be called black. Like, black to me is neutral if white is neutral, because you don't look white. So like, let's just we don't have to be too specific here.
Right.
But like all these other words, black is a replacement word for, I guess, colored. Colored is a replacement word for, let's say, that baseball league, the Negro leagues. There, did I disguise it so that I could say that without the AI canceling us? And that's a replacement for a word I won't say, which was a replacement word for the word we definitely won't say, right? Like, so it's like, don't call me African American. Like, you're white, I'm black, it's fine. Like, and someone can be brown if we feel like the shade is somewhere in between the two, or if that's what they prefer to be called. But like, when I moved to Canada, I'm suddenly not an African American. So let's not be silly about this. Sorry, when you talk about the vitriol, right? Like when you use the word and say this is the better word, which African American, to people that are listening to the show that were born after like 1996, African American was introduced as the best thing you could possibly use because we stopped. It's like, no, you're still just like coming up with a clinical description, and
just to be clear, I'm not suggesting that the fact that we don't use those words anymore isn't progress. I'm just saying it's not enough. It's not.
Yes, because you can't just be replacing the word that you really want to say.
Right. And just to pat ourselves on the back and say, look how far we've come. We don't say those words anymore when we're still racially profiling people and police are still murdering people of a certain color because they can. That's not progress. That's not enough progress is what I'm saying.
And if I can be just a little bit selfish,
Sure.
I honestly believe that the reason I can't have tinted windows over a certain shade is because cops want to look in the car. And part of that might be because of something related to race. And I think women should be allowed to not be seen by certain individuals. And I don't mean cops in that instance, but I think that a woman should feel a lot more safe in a tinted vehicle. And if they can, I could ever feel that way, and I should be able to have one. And I know we're way away from what you were talking about, but that's my
we're close enough.
Are we? It's right there. It's right there with getting over like institutional racism.
We're right there to Vanilla Ice. We're right.
Oh yeah, thanks. That's what we're doing. Yeah. I never opened that clip. My intention was to have it ready to go. Oh boy, this is a long show. I'm so sorry.
Hey, we were off for a week.
Yeah, said I'm all pent up. So this is what we can't stand in terms of, look, I don't want to live in the world where we have to hear what celebrities fucking think, but it's obnoxious that so many celebrities are afraid to have an opinion because of, we played Taylor Swift saying what is probably very career safe for her, but also at least having a fucking thought, right?
Sure.
Well, I don't vote. I don't care about politics. Never have. Never registered. Have no opinion about anything.
Starting to sound like a broken record from celebrities in 2024, isn't it? I don't have opinions about anything because it would probably demolish half of my demographic and make me lose a whole bunch of money. So therefore, I'm just going to be a little bitch and stay in the center and not say anything at all.
I have fans on both sides of all that, and I would never alienate them.
Yeah, but you do, though, because you performed at Trump's New Year's party at Mar-a-Lago, so you do have a little bit of a preference, let's be honest. And I'm not pro-Trump, but I would respect this guy a hell of a lot more if he just came out and said it. He's only motivated by money, and if you need some more proof of that, well, here it is.
Standing in a voting line, and then you'll go, how much did they pay me for any of that? Zero. How much money could I have made with all that time? A lot. They don't pay you a penny.
This is proof that if you just let people talk long enough, the truth will come out. And it raises the question that if you don't have any opinion at all, then what's the point of the interview? Okay, so I haven't posted in a little while, and I had some of you guys reach out to me.
What the fuck he's about to talk about? What do you think about that?
Fuck Vanilla Ice. That's what I think.
Remember when he did the metal version? Like right after like Linkin Park broke through, he tried to do like rap, rock, metal, whatever.
Oh,
yeah.
Metal.
And it was like, instead it was like ice, ice, baby. And it was like too cold. That's how he made it like super hard.
Yeah. So bad. It was bad. It was really bad.
Hey, nobody's listening to this long, right?
Sure.
Can I ask you is this racist question?
Yeah.
Yeah? It's okay. My Puerto Rican friend said so.
Sure. Go ahead.
All right.
Sure.
This is well intended, and I just want to know if I can use it because I liked being able to say this phrase. I won't say it if I find out that in a majority of the opinion it is ill-advised. But is it racist to call porta potties Mexican space shuttles?
What?
Oh, you never worked on a job site, huh? Come on, man. You get it when you look at it, like it, you know. Good night.
Good night.
I'll talk to you.
Gotta play the outro.
Oh, thanks, dude. Oh no, I didn't stop it. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Sino talk.
Yes.
Oh, let's drag him into this.
When a guy's banging you,
Y'all let me in his damn house.
oh, how about that?
Come in the name of peace.
LMFAO.
So what in the world is this? Is Kevin McCarthy a moron, and if so, why?
Why would you say something that stupid?
I come without explanations or solutions. I'm a very sexy lady, cat turd. I will not suffer this harlot. How great! An anti-American Marxist.
Ted Cruz, go fuck yourself.
Read the news. China is asshole.
God bless the United States.
Podcasting.